Meeting called to order. Today is Tuesday, June 20th. Town Council meeting in Town Council Chambers, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island.
Councilman Licciardi,
Here.
Councilman Messier,
Here.
Councilman Padula,
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico,
Here.
Council President Goslin.
Here.
There is a quorum. Minutes of the previous meeting. Resolved that the minutes of the June 6, 2017 Town Council meeting and the June 13th, and I'd like to not do the June 13th. I gave Paula my rough draft when I realized it when I looked it over. Can we just table it to the next meeting and just do the 7th? Okay.
Make a motion to table. I'll second.
The June 13th. So, resolved that the minutes of the June 6, 2017 Town Council meeting are hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moving second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consent agendas, license application. Resolved that the consent agenda, having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moving second. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Those licenses that approved were Breads and Stuff, Apparatus LLC, Decor, fireworks permit for Lori Swanson, carnival permit, Lori Swanson, craft show, Lori Swanson, West Warwick Middle School, Jeff Gio, victual house license, Lori Swanson, cruise night, Lori Swanson, which is this Friday night. All pistol and revolver licenses, flea market licenses, laundry licenses, filling station licenses, and tobacco licenses have been approved.
Consent agenda, license application. Resolved that the consent agenda, having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved. Jason Licciardi, doing
No,
business.
hold on,
No,
you're
there's
under
one.
correspondence.
Yeah, you missed
We got license applications, one.
And then correspondence would be the next one.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll move the resolutions for license applications.
No, we did license applications, we're on
What are we on,
correspondence.
correspondence?
So you're gonna move for-
You're gonna read correspondence, Mary Ann.
I don't have correspondence. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. Consent agendas, correspondence. Resolved that the consent agenda, having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moving second, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consent agenda, license application. Resolved that the consent agenda, having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved. Jason Licciardi, DBA Love Your Lawn, location 26 Carlson Circle, type of business, landscaping.
I'll move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Councilman Licciardi is
Aye.
recusing himself from this matter.
Yes.
Discussion? Any public discussion? Anna?
Anna Goldarisi, Carpenter Court. Regarding the new business licenses, I just have a question on the applications where the tax assessor has signed off on it.
Excuse me, Anna, can you move the mic down a little bit, please? Thank
Can
you.
you hear me?
Now we
Can you
can.
hear me now? I have a question on where the tax assessor signed off on all three applications. Does this indicate that all tangible taxes for the businesses have been paid?
There will be no tangible taxes until they fill out, until their license is approved, then they get the letter in the mail for their tangible taxes. They fill out what's tangible, and then they submit that letter in. And I've known this process because I just had a friend of mine open up a candy shop inside their house. And when they applied for the application, within 30 days, they receive a letter. They ask for a list of items that you have for your business, and that's what they determine. The tax assessor will determine what's tangible and what's not.
So even if a business existed before the business license, there is no tangible tax?
Not until the license is approved.
So an already existing business doesn't pay tangible
There are
taxes?
plenty of businesses in this town. This is a registration, not
Right.
a license. There are plenty of businesses in this town that are not registered right now. And the reason for that is we went through this almost 2 years ago as a council,
Mhm.
okay? We have to mail every single business a registration fee, a registration letter. That registration has to come back and enter, so they've done it in waves. And actually, all the waves of businesses have not been done yet. So there's a lot of businesses out there that aren't registered, that aren't paying tangible taxes right now, possibly.
Well, these are three councilmen. I think you have to, all of you have to vote on these issues. You have to approve other people to have a license, you have to approve things for other people's tangible taxes and any penalties.
And again, Anna, we don't know until they become a business, until they file the paperwork here. The tax assessor will sign off on it, because once she knows about it, then she'll mail each business the tangible tax letter, and they'll fill it out. That's all I can say at this point.
That's it.
You know, I just want to comment one thing
Go ahead.
that you said, and no, I don't want to interrupt you. I find it kind of strange, and believe me, Jason, nothing to do with you or anyone up here right now, but I think what we're setting out there now is a business can try and get away with not registering to be a
Absolutely.
business
Yep.
for
Well, you're setting a
4 or 5 years
Setting
until
a
we catch
precedent.
them. And we're setting a precedent where if they have tangibles and taxable equipment, I just don't understand. I mean, my advice, if this happens, any business that can get away with what they're getting away with till we catch you, God bless
Exactly.
you.
And
Because that's the precedent I don't ever want to see. Someone say they owe 12% taxes on tangibles because they didn't pay tangibles for 5 years, 2 years, 10 years.
But Angela, that 12% is if you didn't pay your tax bill. That 12%.
12%
It's not
applies.
12% because you didn't get charged tangibles. It's 12% because you decide not to pay your taxes when we
Wait, the
send
way
you
I
bill.
understand it, John, you tell me if I'm wrong.
Non-tangibles
Wait,
is tax evasion.
let me just clarify something for me. If a person doesn't pay tangibles, are they opening themselves up for a 12% tax increase if they have $10,000 worth of tangibles?
Not an increase of penalty.
It's my understanding that once the bill goes out and a person receives the bill.
Come on up
if
to the
they do
mic,
not-
come on up to the mic, please.
It's my understanding that once they receive the bill, that's when the interest starts, if they don't pay the bill, because at that point, it's considered
By deadline.
delinquent. The fact that they have not actually been billed, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure, and I would defer maybe to legal to give us an advice, because I haven't had a situation like that. But it's my understanding that the interest starts once the account is considered delinquent because they've received the bill and have not paid, or made an attempt to make payment arrangements or anything of that nature.
So no one has ever paid a penalty on not claiming their tangibles?
I don't know that for a fact to be either way.
If they
Based
did,
on my,
I'm
just
gonna
what
make a
I've,
motion to give them their money back.
based on what I've seen here, I haven't seen a situation like that, but I mean, I don't know every single situation that
Well,
has come across, but I'm not
Is
aware
the
of any.
times here today, Kendra, anybody who paid tangibles paid a fine that didn't register, and when they did register, they got fined? Please tell them to see me, because I'll be the first one to give them their money back.
The registration process, as the council president pointed out, just started a couple of years ago. So
I'm the one
again,
that
I'm
pushed for
not,
the
I'm not
registration
aware
for
of
that
any
reason.
situation like that.
For that reason. But what we're doing, we are making people say, they don't know I got a business. I'm not gonna tell them till they find out. That's not their job to find out. Now, I don't have a responsibility.
Angela, the registration process came from you because
That's
of,
right.
because of that. And you
Because
called them
we didn't-
gypsies down in the Natick
Right,
section.
we didn't know who was
Okay,
renting
all
what.
right. So for years, before 2 years ago,
Yep.
years went on that you didn't know who was registered and not registered down there. So yes, the entire council went behind you and said, yes, we support this
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Okay? For years, people weren't paying tangibles. For years, it was going on. It's
But we
been
never
corrected
had-
over the last 2 years.
But we never set
But
an
again-
ordinance where you had to register to be a business.
We do set an ordinance now.
Now we did.
We set it 2 years ago.
Right.
But not every business in this town has been notified.
Gentlemen.
There's got a list of them sitting up
Can-
here.
can I just
Don't
interject?
interrupt me, please, I'm finishing. You have a list of businesses up there. I'll give you all the chances to speak, Anna.
I'm just trying to tell you something to help you, that's all.
You have a list of businesses in there that have not been notified yet whatsoever to register. That's what I'm saying. So to sit here and hold 3 people who did
No,
not.
listen, Dave, all I'm saying is, I don't care whether it's them or someone
And two were
else.
registered with the state, and one was in the process of registering with the state. They did not understand that they had to come in for a registration. Not a license,
Well, I
'cause this
mean,
isn't
I'm
a
not-
license, this is a registration.
I'm not gonna get into that, because anybody that knows that I've been fighting for the registration for 2 years, you gotta be blatantly,
Can I explain
Stupid.
something?
Anna?
The tangible taxes are a Rhode Island law. It is not a West Warwick law. It's a Rhode Island state of law. Anytime you start a business, you have to file your tangible taxes. And if those tangible
But do they
taxes
file them
were
with the
never,
state of Rhode Island, or do they file them with the town of West Warwick?
they come in to the state of, to the town of West Warwick, but they have to go to the state. I have the form. It's an annual return to West Warwick, Rhode Island tax assessor. It's a Rhode Island state law. Are you, I know you're not, you're not Mr. Williamson,
By the
so
way, I meant to announce that. Mr.
I
Williamson-
assume you're an attorney of some type.
Mr. Williamson had emergency surgery on Friday. He had a ruptured hernia. This is Tara Fontaine,
At
his
this,
assistant.
at this point, I think we should take that form that you're referring to under advisement. The council should take a look at it, because I think that it has more to do with the registration of the businesses than the actual Rhode Island taxes themselves.
This
I'm
this
gonna
is specifically for tangible
I'm
taxes.
gonna recommend that the council take it under advisement to review the form that you're referring to. If you could provide, I'll provide them with a copy of it.
Well, then that leaves in question the issuance of the business registration or license, whatever we're calling it, because you have to have, from what I understand, the tax assessor has to sign off that your tangible taxes are paid. Maybe they paid them. Did anybody
Anna,
pay any?
The thing is, the tax assessor doesn't know what's tangible yet, because there's never been anything filled out. They'll get that list, and once they fill out that list, and then she determines the tangible taxes.
What
then
you're
yes.
saying is that by getting the business registration, that's the only way that she's going to get the tangible information.
Mm-hmm.
But this law has been in with the state before the law about the business
I understand that,
regulations.
but
So it's separate. Your tangible taxes should have been filed already.
Christine Brochu is our tax assessor,
Okay.
okay? She does not know what Jason, John, myself, Angelo, or Jay have, or anybody.
leave me
in
out of this,
crowd.
she knows exactly what I got.
It's because, Angelo, did you not fill out a form to tell her what you had?
Yeah, you get it?
You get it, and you have to fill it out. Now, if they have belief that,
Every commercial property gets it.
if they have belief
From my
that you
understanding.
have more than that, or
They can
less
come
than
down.
that, they can come down and do an audit. Right now, these are 3 people, and also some other businesses on here, that are new businesses. They pay 0 tangible until they fill this out and fill out their tangible tax form. So unfortunately, nobody will get a bill until they fill out that tangible tax form, and then she'll prorate it based upon the year. Now, once they get sent a bill, and they decide not to pay it by July 30th, because your tax bill's due July 15th, July 30th, August 1st is the 12% interest. They have not been issued any type of bill right now, so unfortunately, they don't owe 12%. Now, I know what you're gonna say, they've been in business, whatever it may be.
Right.
Okay? Jay, I'm gonna pick on you. I think the only tangible tax he has is his cell phone.
It's
Okay.
about, what, 20 bucks per thousand?
Now, Jay, I don't know what John
15
has.
bucks.
Well,
in my
I can
pocket.
speak for myself. I actually operate a very small business. It was established in 2014 as a corporate entity. It's doing business as a cleaning company, and it's basically run from my cell phone and a P.O. box at 100 Washington Street. As tangibles, I haven't claimed them yet, but I'll claim my 2 vacuum cleaners, my buckets, my mop.
Which,
So-
believe it or
And
not,
they
is
may
Yeah, that's
not
fine.
be
you have
And
to-
if I am taxed, I'll pay it. I'm not trying to avoid taxes. That would be illegal.
The point is that none of these have already been processed. And we're setting an example, we're setting a
You
precedent.
brought that to our attention, which
Anna, if they're
we
not-
didn't
I'm
realize.
not a council person,
No, we
I'm a
understand that.
taxpayer.
And you know
But
what? And
Anna-
that's a shame that you were the person who had to do that.
Yes.
But that's how it worked out, and we've all done the
What-
right
what
thing.
was the worst
We
part
immediately-
is-
We immediately went and paid the $100 fee, and if there was a tangible to pay, I don't think anyone here would not pay them.
The sad part
Anna,
is,
but the
that
thing is-
man was the only one that admitted that he didn't have it. You didn't admit that day.
I
He sat
didn't
there
realize that.
honestly,
Honestly-
Jason Messier said,
honestly-
I do not have it.
And I was registered with the state, and I didn't realize that we had a registration here. Had I known that, I would have registered. Simple as that.
Can I speak, even though I just recused myself, can I speak as
You
well?
might want to go out there
Yeah,
onto the
you're not
microphone.
gonna-
You can speak as a citizen at this point.
Come on, citizen.
But Anna, the process is now taking place. So without this process, they can't be taxed.
But that's not true. I'm sorry.
They
but
don't
it's
know
a
what
s-
they have. What can
it's
you
a s-
tax them if you don't know what they have?
Because the person, the business, was responsible upon their initial first day of business by law to go to whatever town they're in and declare tangibles. It has nothing to do with the business registration. The business registration only requires that they paid those tangibles.
Okay. Al, did you want to speak?
I was just going to say, in response to Angelo, if you recall, when we got into this ordinance, one of the major problems, and one that comes to mind, was the fire department. That, as I recall, they found a business that had some very flammable things that they did not know existed, and it was not registered. So when the council had me draft the ordinance for registration, not licensing, registration, one of the big things that the council discussed that evening was how are we going to make these people aware that they got to come in and register? Because we knew that there are a lot of people out there not registered, not realizing they're supposed to register, and doing it with complete innocence. And if I recall, when that ordinance was passed, some serious advertising, and I'll look at Dave on this one, I think there was some, Kendra was here, and I think we specifically asked her to
The
give
other
a lot
Kendra.
of, I think we specifically asked her to give a lot of publicity in the Times to let people know. So the people were made aware to the best of the council's ability. But I'm sure there are still a lot of people out there
There is.
who
I've
just
already had a
don't know.
conversation with the clerk's office.
And,
There's
you know, and
plenty
if
out
they
there.
don't know it, and they don't know they're supposed to file, you know, I don't think there's anybody out there that I've come in contact with that says, oh, I'm gonna beat the town on my tangibles. It's something that it's innocent mistake. And that's from when I presented this to you.
Jay? Just state your name and address for the record.
Jason Lichardi, 26 Carlson Circle. I have a little bit of a different scenario. I just opened an LLC a few months ago, as most of you know. After being at my full-time job for 25 years, I no longer have that job. I have a new career, which is this. So I'm working with an attorney on that process. And filing as a business with the town of West Warwick was one of the check marks that I had. I really didn't put it to the forefront. I probably should have. But, and when it got brought out at the last council meeting, I really thought to myself, all right, I gotta bring it to the top. And then I went in, filed the paperwork, and when the town sends me a bill, then I'll pay the bill, you know, for the tangibles. But for right now, it's been, you know, it's one of the items I just checked off my list and moved on.
My concern,
So-
and it's not with someone that just registered or a year or whatever it is. My concern now is that it's out. Being in dire straits the way this town is right now, and everybody's not paying their fair share, they're gonna say, I don't have to register until they catch me. And there's no teeth that we can do, and I don't blame them for doing it. Because we're giving them that open door where we're gonna say, if we catch you in a year, you gotta pay. If we catch you in 10 years, that's 10 years worth of tangibles and 10 years worth of licensing that you don't have to pay. And believe me, this is gonna come back to bite us in the butt. And mark my words, it's gonna come back to bite us in the butt.
And how much further can it spread? People are gonna get fines or
They
penalties
can't.
for
I'm not
anything,
gonna
and they're
vote
all
for
gonna
any
say, I
fine.
wanna be treated like a council person.
I think at this point, everybody's point's been made, and that the council should probably move
I
along.
just want to make something clear by that comment. I will tell you honestly, any business that comes in here and applies for a license and they didn't know, I'm going to treat them just like the charter says. They got 30 days to comply once we find out. Each one of these gentlemen found out that night and they complied within 24 hours. The charter says, and the town didn't even notify them. the town said, the charter says they have to be notified. And once they're notified,
I
they
know, I
have
read
30
the
days.
charter.
Okay. They will be treated with the same respect as long as they follow exactly what these guys did. I would never sit there and say, I'm gonna fine them for 35 years that they've been in business. I don't know, Jay's just started a business, but how do I know he hasn't been cutting grass since 21 years old?
Was it a business, or was it?
I don't know.
something?
Okay,
I-
well,
I
you-
don't
you
know. Maybe he's
referenced-
converted over to a business.
You
I don't
reference
know.
that these
But again-
individuals are filed with
Get
the
his income
state.
tax papers, and you'll find out.
The state,
You don't have to file.
the state recognizes one LLC and one Inc. And when you go to file online for these things, the state provides you with a nifty little tool that is a checklist. And the first thing on the checklist is to check with your individual city or town to make sure you are in compliance. How could
I
a
don't
town
believe
council?
that. I don't believe that it was in place when I filed. To be honest, I don't think that was in place. When do you know what
It's the
month it was?
business portal.
2014, right?
Us,
It was recent. Yeah.
2014.
Yeah, I filed in
15.
January, and I don't believe that there was anything in place in West Warwick.
It was actually in 2015. It was the
But
last-
you're,
Okay, so there
you're
was
here
definitely
to be a
nothing there.
council
No, I
person to
understand that,
pass
yeah.
judgment
And
on people that are doing business
we never
in this
pass
town.
judgment. We don't pass judgment.
Okay.
That's
I-
the wrong
you
terminology.
Vote.
Never.
Shouldn't have used the word judgment. You vote on different businesses. You can stop a certain business if they're not belonging in
That's
this town or
correct.
whatever.
That's correct. And we try to.
It sets a poor example.
It would set a poor example if it was done with like some malintent.
I don't think there
Or
was
if it was something
malintent.
that there was a certain ignorance there, which, you know,
What it tells me is that the most basic part of the charter, which is business regulations, nobody pays attention to, maybe nobody read it yet. How could you have read it and not know it? It's probably the simplest terminology in the entire charter is business regulations.
Anna, I'm going to interrupt you there. I think you've made your point. I think everybody has understood your
Okay.
point. They're going to take it under advisement. And that's, we need to move along to the next item.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consent agenda, license application resolved that the consent agenda, having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed or awaiting a recommendation, the same is hereby approved. Jason Messier, doing business as Wicked Beautiful Rhode Island LLC, location 65 Manchester Street, type of business, local business advertising.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moved and seconded for the record, Councilman Messier will be recusing himself. Any comment from the council? Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consent agenda, license application resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved. The D'Amico Corporation doing business as Complete Office Cleaning. Attention, John F. D'Amico, location 20 Drawbridge Drive, type of business, office cleaning.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moved and seconded for the record, Councilman D'Amico will be recusing himself. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Amplifier and theatrical performances, shows, and exhibitions. Resolve-
Actually, we're gonna move Q and R up, and then we'll get into these.
This is
two.
Glory too.
Yeah,
one is
but
Glory.
go to Q now and then, because we gotta move,
Do we need a motion to move?
Make a motion to move Q and R ahead of what, I?
yes, after I. So we'll go G right now and then we'll go.
Okay.
All right, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're on G now.
Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application for amplifier and theatrical performances, show and exhibitions. Lori Swanson, June 23rd, 2017. Time 5:30, location West Warwick Civic Center, 100 Factory Street.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Oh, should I come up? Am I going to the next
Q, right?
Q.
G?
Q.
No,
No,
two.
Q.
2.
We're going
Two.
G2.
Amplifier theatrical performances, show and exhibitions. Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application. Jennifer Haritos, June 26, July 12, July 26, August 9, August 23, September 13th, September 27th, 2017, 5 PM to 8 PM, 289 Cohasset Ave.
I'll move the resolution, but it's 6/28, not 26.
I'm sorry.
6/28.
I'll second.
Moving second, discussion? Any public discussion? One at a time at the mic. You can come on up, sir, and state your name and address for the record.
My name is David McGurl. I live at 21 Village Court. I am secretary of the Remington Pond Village Condominium Association, but I am here speaking on my own behalf as a resident. First, I would like to say I was not home at the time, but residents have complained to me that there's already been a car show held at that location on June 14th. I would like to know whether a permit was requested for this event. Also, I have learned that these car shows have already been publicized online. To me, this suggests that the organizer believes that this council simply rubber stamps event permits without due consideration, and I do not think that is the case. I believe that allowing multiple shows to take place at the requested location would adversely affect the quality of life of myself and over 100 residents of Remington Pond Village, and that there must be other locations available. For example, in the past, car shows have been held at the Arctic Gazebo at Main and Washington Streets. Our complex is located right next to the plaza. Our residences are separated from the plaza by a short, thin road called Tina Drive. There are approximately 84 units in our complex, many with multiple residences. I respectfully request that you consider this permit request as if the affected residents lived in a more traditional suburban area in an 84 area with 84 single-family homes. In addition to the noise from the amplified music, there will be noise before and after the event from the car engines and motorcycles, etc. Although my main concern is with the noise, I am concerned as to how much parking will be available in the plaza for the attendees, since the plaza is going to contain all of the show cars. I fear that some attendees may park along Tina Drive, which, as I said, is very narrow, or that they may use our own condominium parking lot.
Is this a Subway Plaza?
Yes. In short, I believe multiple car shows with amplified music would adversely affect the quality of life of our residents. Surely there must be more appropriate locations where the organization can have their car shows. And lastly, I would say my opinion that amplified music is not an essential part of a car show. People go to a car show to see the cars, not to listen to music. So if the council does decide to grant this permit, please consider excluding the amplified music part of the request. Thank you for the opportunity to express my concerns.
Thank you. Ms.
Hi.
Are we-
Brenna O'Keefe, Christie Circle, which is right behind that plaza. I'm nowhere near as organized as you. This is my first time here. But I did wanted to voice my concern about the noise going on in the car shows. There have been 2 car shows so far. One last week and then one 2 or 3 weeks before that.
That can come before the council.
The first one did, the second one didn't because there wasn't enough time, but the permit was filled out.
Okay. The first car
Because the
show,
I just want to interrupt. The first one went with no complaints, so they went with the second one because it was a fundraiser for Station Memorial Fire.
yeah, the first one, I didn't notice any music or amplifier. I did take a peek through, and the second one, there was already music and a loudspeaker and amplifier going on. They're playing loud 50s music, which is quite disruptive. You know, I live exactly right behind Subway. I have my neighbor here too. I went to my board meeting for my condo development. We have 80 townhouses that are located directly behind this plaza. And, you know, a lot of people were upset and voicing their concern about this, especially the loud music. The car show does seem small in scale, and I don't know necessarily that I would have that much of an issue with the car show, but the music and the amplifier is quite distracting and disruptive. I know my dog was disrupted, and then therefore, when she starts barking, other dogs in the neighborhood start barking as well.
How far is your house from say where the speakers were?
I don't know. What would you say?
A stone's throw?
Yeah,
Here you
it's
go.
right, it's directly,
I was hoping it was further so we could say it's excessively loud, but that's,
yeah.
Would you feel differently if the car show wasn't between 5 and 8 and it was maybe an afternoon show? Or is it the music itself?
No, it's the
Just-
music.
Okay.
If they were playing good music, that's one thing, but if they're playing 50s music, I don't like that.
wow. Well, I know Jen's here, and one of the reasons why I know, her and I had a conversation here in Town Hall a few weeks ago, and why she's doing these car shows is for fundraisers. So if she doesn't mind coming up, at least, if she, I think personally, if there's concerns that she's not aware of,
Yeah.
that we can address it and she can
Okay.
work with.
Yeah, and I, just my 2 cents, I did contribute to that station nightclub fund. I'm not against that. It
No,
seemed
no,
like
it's-
Subway was
no, it was
involved
just
in
loud
it.
music that
It's just
night.
the noise.
Yeah,
It's
the-
just the noise.
The town hall did receive a few calls afterwards, and Paula and I were talking about it.
For the second one?
Yeah, we told we would talk tonight about it. So
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Jennifer, if you just want to come up.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. Did anybody go over to the car show and ask them to turn it down or anything?
No.
Did you get any?
I had no one.
Where was the calls? Came to the police department?
The call actually came into town hall this week because they received the advertisement for this,
All right, so how
So-
long ago was the last car
the
show?
14th.
It was last Wednesday.
Okay, and then we just got the call.
No, they got calls the next morning
The
from
next morning,
after,
okay,
right
okay,
after.
okay.
So Jennifer Haritos, I'm the store manager of Subway on 289 Coeast Avenue. Initially, when I decided to have these car shows, it was to bring business to the area, not just Subway, but there's a whole plaza right there. Then, because I've done a lot of volunteer work for the community with Be the Change and with Christian Hill Church and different areas of my type of community service. I thought this would be a wonderful thing to incorporate a charity with this car show, community event. I had Serena Allen donated 2 of the trolls for the last show for the kids. Each
Costume company, just so they know. She
Correct.
dressed-
Oh,
they
yes,
dress up
yes.
like the toll.
She owns, it's really strange to actually talk to you and not talk to everybody who this concerns, so I'm sorry. I know, but it's visual. So what I'm trying to do is not only bring business to the area, but try to get a community
Jennifer,
event
you do
going
have to
on.
address us, though.
I'm sorry.
I know you don't like to, but you do.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do is bring business and a community event to the area. No, we don't have a lot of cars, and it is kind of a bummer because I do want some more cars. I had anticipated a large number of people. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and I did find out because this is all new. I've already planned. I have parking people. I have volunteers, not only my own employees, but volunteers from other businesses and friends and family to monitor the parking so that nothing goes on that side street because it is about this big, and that the cars are to park on the other end of the parking lot, in our lot only, okay? And the music was not facing the back. Where the music was is if you know where if you can picture the Subway Plaza, you have the Subway store right here, and you have the first lane of parking spots. Where the first light pole is, which is about 4 spots in, is where the music was set up. The music was actually kept at a very low level. It might have bounced off of the building and come back across, but there was not only the Subway restaurant building blocking the back townhomes. The speakers were not facing that way. One was facing that way and one was facing kind of that way, so that it would be pointed out towards the street as not to disturb tenants and other homes. It is only from 5 to 8 p.m. Now, I do live on a residential street, okay? And people have parties, and they have loud banging, whether it be rap or heavy metal music. And yes, I was one of those. I call the cops like it's 10 o'clock at night, and they're still doing this on a Saturday night. Noise ordinance, 11 p.m.
okay? Our decibel level is down to a moderate level, to where it's supposed to be, because my DJ understands that there are residents in the area, and I am considerate. You know, I give specials. I tell them, please come over, enjoy this time, you know, help support the community. The next one, hopefully, if everybody agrees, is going to be, and the reason I posted it is so people know in advance, hoping nothing is set in stone until I get approval. Is going to be for the West Warwick Firefighters Association. And I tell people who come to the car show, please, if you have an organization that's near and dear to you, whether it be cancer, heart disease, anything that's close to your heart, please tell me, and I will be happy to make one of those car shows for your particular charity. I have no problem with that. Alzheimer's, heart disease, anything, women's issues. I'm open to that because I want to help the community. I want this to be a community event. It's only for 3 hours, 2 times a month. Like I said, I've taken all the proper precautions on not having, you know, people parking in where they're not supposed to. The cars aren't allowed to rev their engines. I do not have motorcycles. These are for cars and trucks. I'd like to get some motorcycles, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So, you know, like I said, I just want this to be a beautiful community event. There's not enough of this around. This community sometimes, and I read the Facebook pages, and sometimes I heard it tonight, this town seems to be so divided. I'm trying to bring everybody together, and I'm only one person. And I'm just looking for community involvement and help and enjoyment, and that's what this is all about. Not trying to disturb anybody. That's not my intention.
Now, Jen, I'll be honest with you. We have had a lot of car shows with DJs, and we haven't had any complaints. So, you know, I wasn't there. I don't know how loud the music was, but if they're hearing it at their house, obviously it's loud enough in the parking lot. You know, maybe turning it down a little further.
I have no problem with that.
I understand. I mean, I agree that, you know, we need more events like this, but also I don't want to be disturbing the livelihood of neighborhoods
Of course
in
not.
their livelihoods. So I mean,
Do we have to approve every single
Well,
one of
that's
these?
what I was
Or
gonna
can
ask,
it be
like,
contingent
can we-
on to see how
yeah,
the...
exactly.
you know,
Yeah, like I said, I have no problem with that. But I can tell you the way the speakers were, they were facing the road. So, and if you were actually walking into my Subway restaurant, A, not to disturb any residences, and B, not to disturb other businesses. You know, because they're not the ones that are putting this on. They happen to be in the plaza. I did go around to each and every business in that plaza and said, are you good with this? Talk to the plaza manager. Are you good with this? Okay? If you walked to the front of the Subway door to walk in the door, you could hear the music, but it was not loud. Okay? It really wasn't.
Jennifer, is there a reason why you picked Plaza over there?
I'm the manager of Subway.
Oh, okay. I didn't
I'm
hear
the
that,
manager of
so,
Subway.
okay.
No, that's okay. Yeah. I just sport the shirt all the time because, you know, I really like green and I love Subway. No, I'm just joking. It's a huge parking lot. And like I said, I understand there are residences there and I have no problem with that, you know, with turning the music down. But 50s music is part of a classic car show. If you go to Oakland Beach, they have music. You go to Exeter, they have music. All car shows have doo-wop music. That's what they have. And like I said, it wasn't very loud, and it's only from 5 to 8. And this is what I'm not understanding. People have parties with loud music all the time. And, you know, this is just a little community event, 3 hours, twice a month. And you know, I'm trying to do a good thing here. And I don't know what else to say.
okay. Any other comment? Bert, and then, actually, the gentleman in the back, because you live in the neighborhood, come on up, and then Bert right after him.
Jason, stay, your water,
That's mine.
your water.
Yeah. I never see any complaints.
Yes, my name's Richard Harmon. I live at number 80 Christie Circle, right behind Subway. And between Subway and Tina Drive, There's quite a little bit of expanse there. It isn't closed off like she said it is. As far as revving the engines, I was brought up with them cars. I'm a little bit older than her, so I know what they sound like. And someone had some 427s down there hammering pretty good. As far as the music, we had to shut all windows and doors so we could just hear the TV. That's kind of loud. I don't think you'd like it around your house.
As I stated, sir, I believe that events like this are good for the community, but not if it's disrupting the livelihood.
That's right. Because, you know, if her place has parties and stuff down her street, have it over there. We don't want it.
That's a good question. I know she has all these dates on here. If over the next one or two car shows, we start receiving complaints, can we shut it down or revoke the amplifier loudspeaker license?
You would have the ability to revoke any license you issue based on.
Does anybody have a problem with it? Jay, I know you had a comment.
No, I was gonna say, I think, you know, Councilman Messier made a good point, that we look at one or two of them and not approve all of them, and see how this turns out.
Is it possible to only approve a couple, or do we have to approve them all and then we can look back and say we
Do
want?
whatever you want.
You can
I mean,
approve any
my suggestion
one.
would be to.
I say one in June, and then we
We can, that's why I can, personally, if we approve all and then revisit this in July,
yeah.
if
We
we have any
we have a
complaints
meeting
or
in
anything
between
like
then?
that.
The 10th, we have a meeting, correct?
Yeah, July 10th.
Yeah.
So we could approve them, and then on the 10th review it. I mean, even if some of the constituents in that
So
area.
there'll be only one, and the next one's July 12th, so the 10th.
And if we don't meet in July, then she's gonna be
We're
stuck.
meeting
meeting
July
on the 10th.
10th. We're meeting July 10th, so,
July 10th's a Monday. That's the pension board.
the 11th,
The 11th would be the Tuesday.
yeah.
Right.
When are you meeting?
Yeah, but we,
The
the 11th, are we here the 11th?
Oh, yeah, the calendar, but you were gonna,
We're gonna
What's
take
that?
this, the second week of, in the first week of August, those are the two that we weren't gonna meet, if I'm correct.
That's what I thought.
So the next one, this will be 6/28. The next one will be 7/12. We're meeting 7/11. If we have the same issue where the noise is out of control, we can revoke 7/12 and shut it down from here on out. I think, personally, I think Jennifer, we'll try to work with the neighborhood over there. If not, we'll have to deal with it come the next time around. Does that seem to be a fair and reasonable fix for everybody? Bert, did you want to speak? Thank you. Hey, sometimes I do a good job up here.
I do have one other thought, that maybe since the plaza is so large, if they could move it down to the very end, where the townhouses do not abut the plaza, and the condos on the side are a little bit further away, where more I think there's businesses down in front of the condos, I'm not sure.
I think the problem with that would be Subway is putting it on though, so then
It could be the
Right.
parking issue, I'm
And
not sure.
that's, you know, I understand that's, you know, people want to do good for the community, but do it in your own backyard. Don't do it in ours. You know, and then my other concern is if you agree to this next car show with the loudspeaker and the amplifier, I mean, people don't know about these town council events. They don't attend these meetings. They don't, you know, they don't go to the board of directors regularly and complain. If you complain once, they think, oh, well, they didn't hear me. So likely now they've complained.
What I would suggest at this point, if we do approve this now, if it does get loud, I would suggest calling the police department, and then we can reach with them, and we can reach out to the chief and find out how many complaints we received, and then we can go from there. You don't have
You
to.
could even have,
Mr.
Chief, you
Council
could even
President,
have
may-
a patrol go by
Well,
there too to check it
Can
out.
may I make a suggestion? I mean, if Ms. Cerritos is the manager of Subway, I don't know if she has a cell phone or a contact or something like that, and I've seen it in other instances where if you've got some use that's conflicting with the abutters, if the manager would be kind enough to provide the neighbors with her cell phone, I think the first call should probably be to the business owner to say, your music's too loud, could you please turn it
Well, they
down?
definitely have the business phone number too for Subway too. You can
Yeah.
also call into Subway.
And if based on an initial outreach to the
It
business,
doesn't work, yeah, I like that idea.
they don't lower the music, then I would suggest you call the police department.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
All right.
If she plays your music, would that sound fair?
What's your,
Yeah, we need to know what, we need to know what the music
At
is.
least that music, I like that music. I don't like that banging stuff
Right.
where boom, boom, boom. That's me.
Just come on up, state your name and address for the record.
Jared Lee, 172 Prospect Hill Ave. I would only suggest that you give her the 2 dates, because if you cut off the day before, she can't advertise. If you're trying to raise money for funds,
Actually, we don't be able to give her one because,
well, you are going to give her 1, but then your next meeting will be on the 11th.
Well, that's
but our
true, like, it's
problem
only a
is,
2-day window.
well, our problem is if we
I think Will
approve- hold on.
But after the first one, if you
If-
already have an issue,
But
you can cancel
if we
it
approve the
before.
first one, she has to
Yeah.
now advertise once again. Right now, she has to advertise, she had to pay the advertisement to all the neighbors.
Correct.
So now, if we approve just 628,
Yep.
we meet on 7/11, it's still not enough time for her to re-advertise
Correct.
to the
So-
neighbors. So what?
So you would need to approve at least 2.
No, they-
If the first one goes bad, then you
You're
could
approving them all.
You could take the license, pull
But
the
if we
license.
approve them all here tonight,
Not all, the
no,
first
but
2.
if we approve them all here tonight, right now.
Oh, you're approving all?
Yeah, we're gonna
I'm gonna approve them all
I'm
and then,
gonna go sit down, because it sounded like you guys were approving the first one.
No, no.
That's what I got.
we're gonna
No,
approve them
we want
all.
to approve all, but if she
Okay.
has a problem, it can be
They'll
revoked.
rescind it.
Yep.
Thank you, Jerry.
Well, I mean, I think she can kind of get a feel, if she gets a bunch of complaints, she probably knows it's probably gonna get revoked.
Is that, I just want to ask one question. Is that revoking just the music or the whole thing?
This is for
Oh, it's for
amplifier loudspeaker license.
All right, so that's just for the music portion.
Correct.
All
Your
right.
car show's been
And like I
approved.
said, I have no problem, like, come over and see me. I'm reasonable, I'll turn it, it's 2 speakers,
Free subways.
Well, I give away free cookies. I do. I give away free cookies, and there's always specials, but there's 2 speakers. I have no problem turning it down a little bit. I have no problem. The problem going to the other end of the parking lot, I don't have an extension cord for the DJ that reaches that far. And it's not, I can't keep a hold of my business and the car show at the same time. And it's Subway putting it on, not the Chinese restaurant that's at the other end of the parking lot. I can't have it throughout the whole parking lot. I have stipulations from the manager of the plaza as to where I'm allowed to even park the cars. So, I also, I do have the limitations. The 50s music is what goes with car shows. And, like I said, I have no problem lowering the music. And the car that you heard was having some issues. There was one that did that, and he had some issues
All right, so
with the car.
we're going to give it another shot.
Please, I would appreciate
We'll go
that.
from there,
I
okay?
appreciate that very much. And I'm looking actually just to let everybody know that I'm thinking that first one in July, if everybody seems to be okay with the one on the 28th, is Dorian Strong. So these are very meaningful organizations that I'm trying to do this for. And Paw Patrol will be at the 21 on the 28th.
Thank
God
you.
willing that everything goes through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep those Paw Patrol guys
All right.
under wraps.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Christopher Marandola, July 15, 2017, location 15 Coit Avenue, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m.
What is that,
That's the
resolution?
last one, and this one, then we go to
Nothing to
R&Q.
move.
You wanna move it?
Move the resolution.
I'll second the resolution.
Moving second, discussion.
Boy, is he in trouble after that last one?
Any other comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we're going to do Q.
Q. Fiscal year 2017-18 budget for Civic Center Complex, sponsored by Council President Goslin.
Move the resolution.
Moving second, we just approving the budget. We've all seen the budget. We've all seen it twice. It's just a matter of... 2 public hearings, just a matter of supporting it now. Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And R.
our resolution approving medical stop-loss insurance for the town of West Warwick. And West Warwick, is that the one you want?
Yeah.
West Warwick Public
Yes.
Schools? Let's see.
I'll move the resolution. What is this?
Move,
I need a
do you have a
second.
second?
A second.
Seconded. John, just want to come up and explain this,
Our stop-loss insurance for the self-insurance for the medical claims is actually up for renewal, and this is for the council's consideration. Just to quickly explain, the stop-loss insurance helps us to handle any excessive claims, and we have David Glade here from USI, who's a consulting company who actually put together a bid process for the pricing and for the documents that you actually have in front of you. He's here to answer any questions you may have in specifics, to the policy or to the plan. But basically, what this does is covers us for any claims in excess of $200,000 plus medical conditions. We pay an insurance premium.
what'd you say for a dollar amount? Because it doesn't match what's on here.
175. I'm sorry, 175,000. So anything in excess of the 175, an insurance policy would kick in. So we actually pay our premium so that we avoid, $500,000 claims or anything above the
It says not to
175.
exceed 465,000. Maybe I'm not reading this right?
Yeah, the 465,000 is the cost of, is the cost of the insurance policy.
Okay.
The limit on the policy for an individual, if someone is undergoing treatment and the cost exceeds 175,000, this insurance kicks in and it covers the town, so the town doesn't pay more than 175,000.
And this went out to bid?
It went out to bid.
Correct.
Because I don't,
I believe it's the very last page of the package that you have actually shows the various components.
bear with me.
Sorry, I did not scan it. Basically, we received bids from HCC and Blue Cross of Rhode Island.
How much is this?
The policy itself is $465,000.
No, what does that cost?
That's our cost.
That's the cost of the insurance policy,
Correct.
465,669.
So I see some others on here that are 409.
Where is it? It's backwards, I can't.
So that's taking on more risk.
Dave, why don't you come?
No, I gotta come.
Yeah, just explain this to me, because I'm seeing,
It's just like car insurance. So the higher the deductible, the lower the premium. But your claims ran very poorly last year, so the more risk you take on, you can actually fund more than the premium savings. So in our analysis, staying with the current contract, if this year repeated itself, you would save money by staying in the current contract. So I think the big decision is whether we stay with the incumbent carrier, HCC, at the 23.5% increase, or move to the Blue Cross reinsurance product at a 31% increase, or a $28,000 difference. Blue Cross's policy offers one kind of cash flow advantage, so the decision is for $28,000, is it worth having that potential cash flow advantage?
I think the recommendation is for the lowest qualified bidder. Right?
Yes, that's our recommendation.
But, in other words, the trust insures us.
No, the
No.
town is self-insured.
This is actually, if I can just add something, Mark, before you do. This does not get paid out of the general fund. This will be coming out of the self-insurance fund, and is included in the working rates and what's already been budgeted within the general fund. So this is not an additional cost to the general fund. It is a cost of the self-insurance fund itself, which is separate. And I don't want anyone to think, whether it's the public or the council, to think this additional amount is coming from the general fund. This has already been accounted for within the working rates and within the medical that was budgeted in the general fund.
yeah, you just gotta understand, the council just wants to make sure that
Absolutely.
we're getting the best health insurance at our
Yeah.
cost that we can afford, and to make sure that, right now, there's a lot of companies out there willing to bid, like Blue Cross, Aetna, that want to, have that business. So I want to make sure, like right now, our contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield is up soon, so
Yeah.
we'll be shopping around again for health insurance.
Yeah, and
I want to make sure we're doing the same thing here.
Absolutely. And this stop-loss insurance is something that would be recommended regardless of what you had for medical coverage what carrier you had. It's to cover those excessive claims that do happen, which unfortunately for the last couple of years, we have had excessive claims. We've had, I want to say, at least a dozen that exceeded $300,000. So
Yeah.
in this case here, by having this stop-loss insurance, that premium kicked in, which ultimately
Yeah, it
saved
caps it.
us.
We went out to 11 carriers and only 2 bid because of the risk.
Now, why does this say Town of West Warwick and West Warwick Public Schools? Why are they into this?
The self-insurance fund is inclusive of both the school department and the town.
So we pay the whole tab through the town?
No.
They pay
Again,
this?
again, this comes from the self-insurance fund, and the school department contributes to that self-insurance fund, just as the general fund does in the town.
That's correct.
This is a yearly policy?
Correct. Annual policy. Or annual renewal, annual insurance.
Any other comment? Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Not everybody speak at once. Actually, I want to go back. Roll call vote. Jason?
Yes.
Angelo?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know where we can save $500,000 when we need to.
Amplifier and dance live band license. Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application. South Point Christian Church, Gus Piazza, August 17, 2017, 6 Washington Street, 5:30 PM to 8:30 PM.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Amplifier and Dance Live Band. Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application. International Evangelist Ministry Church Live King Live, Luisa Dominici, June 29 and June 30th, 6:30 PM to midnight, 7/1 and 7/2, 11 AM to 6 PM, 1217 Main Street.
I'll move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Is there something, some holiday or something? We got all these?
Everybody wants to do something.
It's my birthday that weekend.
Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Amplifier license. Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application. Michael Valier, August 12, 2017, 7 PM to 10 PM, 88 Lexington Avenue.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Excuse me.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Ordinance amending section 3 definitions and 5.3 table of use regulations of the town of West Warwick zoning code of the code of ordinances of the town of West Warwick. Whereas the town council has determined that it is in the best interest of the town to limit the sale of pets to ensure that no excess pets occurs leading to the improper care and maintenance of the animals. Now therefore, it is hereby ordained that town council of the town of West Warwick hereby amend section 3 definitions and 5.3
I'm gonna make a motion that we waive this reading, because I'm gonna be asking
I'll second.
for it to be tabled.
Okay.
I'll move the resolution.
Well, I'm gonna let Solicitor DeFiore speak
Well,
to
you
this.
gotta move in
Oh,
second.
I'm sorry, second.
Al,
This was brought, Councilman D'Amico. It followed the proper procedure going, since it's a zoning change, it followed the proper procedure going first to the planning board. Planning board came back with a negative recommendation to the council, feeling that prohibiting pet shops in the future would be bad effect on business. I've spoken with Councilman D'Amico, and he's requested that the matter be tabled. And based on the discussion with the planning board and with the town planner and manager, I would recommend the same, that the
Okay,
matter
so
be
I'd like to make a motion that we table this, first reading.
Second.
all in favor of the table?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. It's tabled.
Ordinance 2017-17, second reading, sponsored by Council President Goslin, an ordinance authorizing the town of West Warwick to finance the acquisition, construction, equipping, and installation of energy efficiency improvements in municipal facilities and all attendant expenses, including but not limited to the engineering costs, and approving the financing thereof through the issuance of general bond obligation bonds and/or notes in the amount not to exceed $640,000.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Moving second, discussion, John?
This is the second reading. At the last meeting, we did have the first reading, and Councilman Padula had requested some information, so I'm going to hand out a memo that outlines some of the numbers and information that was requested.
Want this back?
Yeah, please, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll move to the file.
Thank you, young man.
What I just handed out was a memo to the council with the information related to the financing. It explains the terms of the loan, the estimated interest rate, as well as the different type of improvements that would be done that equal the amount that was mentioned. The biggest question that actually had been presented was how long it was going to take to actually recoup the costs associated with the measures that we're looking to take. At an annual savings of approximately $10,000, this would take approximately 6 to 7 years to actually be repaid in terms of the savings versus the cost. And there is some more information that's included in the memo as well, which includes the incentives and rebates. There's approximately $56,000 of rebates that actually lower the costs down to the amount that's actually being requested.
Any questions for John?
And some of these are like safety, I mean, upgrades as well, right? I mean, like the boiler and heating
It's
replacement.
not so much safety, it's
No, not
their
at all?
efficiency.
Okay.
Their efficiency measures. If it was a safety, it would be, it would not qualify for the program. This is strictly for efficiency measures.
So now, John, with the 608,000 we're gonna spend and the 4% interest,
Correct.
we're gonna have at least a $9,986 savings per year,
Correct.
guaranteed,
Yes,
per year.
correct. And that's
After paying
consumption.
the interest on the loan, the juice
Correct.
on the loan and everything?
Correct. As outlined in the memo, the actual efficiency savings themselves are approximately $65,000, but the cost of the debt or the loan associated with it is about $55,000, which comes out to almost approximately $10,000 per year in annual savings.
Tom, do you have a question? Oh, just stretches. Any other comment? Any questions for John?
Why
Yeah.
why is the rate so high?
That's an estimated 4%. That's a conservative amount.
It can't go no higher.
It won't be higher than, we don't expect it to be higher than that. Probably closer to the 3%. But again, they use a conservative rate for purposes. Until they actually see how many communities actually participate and what the request is from each community, they don't know what the total funding is going to be needed, so they can't guarantee a
Let me ask you
rate.
a question. We have millions of dollars laying around in banks getting 0.25%. Wouldn't it be feasible for us to take a loan on our own money, 608,000, and save the 3 3/4% interest and pay that faithfully, where it's an ordinance where we have to pay it? I mean, we'd be saving, I mean, it doesn't make sense that we're keeping millions that we're not touching, and yet we're going to borrow some other money from the bank and paying 4% on money that we already have.
Well, I can tell you there are times where the cash balance is significant, millions of dollars. But the cash flow needs and the way that we actually handle both the revenues that come in and the expenses that are paid, it's not a steady amount. There's not millions of dollars on a daily basis.
We're gonna have
So,
at least
for example,
$610,000 that we never touch. We have a rainy day fund, I never see that money ever go below $3-4 million.
And again, we don't want to actually have our reserves be too low, so we are very cautious of it. Now, keep in mind as well, besides this 600,000, we actually, as part of this application, we also are seeking permanent financing for one of the additional turbines. If you recall, the first application, we did just one turbine. So there is some savings involved, and there is a rate that will actually be better if, in fact, we have the turbine as well as the efficiency measures. So although this is only $600,000, I mean, it's still a significant amount of money. By combining it with the wind turbines, you can actually get that rate lower to the point where you actually can recognize more savings than what's here. Because again, this is a conservative 4% interest rate. So, and again, to address the
If it was my
question.
business, I'd borrow my own money. That's just me.
Our cash needs, especially in the non-collection cycles, are significant, being that we do have one checking account that handles all of disbursements. for all the different, the expenses related to the town. So although it may seem simple in that sense, there are a lot of fluctuations in the cash balance where 600,000, it's not a significant amount compared to some of the others, but it is going to be it would be kind of difficult to do something like that. And there are, the program itself does have the rebates that are part of the program, which help to decrease the cost as well. Some of those rebates may not be available if we were not participating in the efficiency program itself. So there are some advantages in that way too, that we can actually achieve more savings and achieve more of those incentives if in fact we're participating in the program, which lowers the cost.
You may have said it, but is that 4% hopeful, or
That-
is it
that-
conservative?
That's a conservative amount.
It's conservative. I mean, do you have an estimated idea of where you think it will be?
I would say it's probably going to be closer to the 3% area, and again, it depends on how much financing.
Did you run any numbers in terms of the percentages, like what the actual numbers would be? Like you have, 9,986 at, a conservative 4%. What if it was 3%? How much do we save at that point?
Just add 1% to the top.
Yeah, approximately 1% more.
Add 1% to the top, which would give you
Another,
minus the 54,000, which would bring your bottom number up higher.
right.
So in say 3 years from now, where more communities and more communities and more communities start to buy into this program, then this could even break down well below 3%.
I don't think so.
Each application is different. Each application is a separate process. This is round 2. So based on everyone that participates or requests funding in round 2, any of the communities that decide to move forward with it, whatever pool of financing is requested, that would determine the rate on this particular program. The next round of applications would be a separate process and would yield a different result, depending on what the market is at the time and what's requested.
So if this is a 15-year term,
4%.
at what rate how many years before this happens?
Approximately, well, this would be within a year, these measures would be taken. We're waiting for the financing, because this is just one step of the process. We have to have council approval to seek the financing, and then we go back to the infrastructure bank, who would be providing the financing. We'll look at the number, we'll get an actual rate from them, and at that point in time, if the numbers, for whatever reason, don't come out to be this, we are not committed to anything. This does not commit the town. This just allows us to continue to move with the application process to see what the financing truly would be. Because obviously, we're going to look at the final number, whatever it may be, although I don't feel it's going to be the 4%. I think it's going to be closer to the 3%. If something should happen, the communities decide not to participate, and we're one of the only communities, there's less money in that pool, therefore that rate could possibly be higher, and then we can just say, we can step aside, say, no, thank you, we're not going to participate in the program. We could look at measures that we want to do, and then if we decide that there's measures that we want to take, we could maybe think about what Councilman Padula had suggested and just finance some of it ourselves on a lower scale.
John, if we figure 4% of 608,000 in 15 years, comes out to a lot of interest. And that's included where you're going to have the $9,986 savings.
The loan payment of 54, almost
So
55,000.
if 4% at 600,000 would be what, $24,000 juice a year?
Close to that.
Say 24,000 a year, times 15 years.
No, not 24,000 a year.
What is it? What's 4%, 600,000?
Well, 24,000 on 65,000 is almost, it's closer to 50%, about 43%. So figure about 20-something hundred per year.
No way. You're not paying $2,400 interest on
4%,
600.
well, give me
What is it? Figure it out. I don't know. My mind went blank all of a sudden.
well, 64,000.
It's all the numbers.
Is it 24? What is it?
2,400 change.
24,000.
24,000.
And I think my mind
Hold on.
calculated pretty good.
I'm doing it on a calculator right now.
So you're looking 10 years, 240,000. 15 years, 360,000.
And that is correct, but keep in mind also that once the loan is paid off, we actually then achieve the entire $65,000.
But we're also
Down
saving,
bottom don't match what's in the packet.
we're also saving, on the juice. You're also saving what I said. You're
If,
saving 200,000.
if the council wishes, we can
No, I'm just
continue
saying,
this
I mean,
until, I could look into some
I
alternatives.
see at the budget time where we're scraping $1,000 here, 2,000 here. Here's a savings of 260,000. Bingo. money that's no good to us, that we're not using. Let's put it to work for us. Let's do what a normal business or a homeowner would do and use that money. Let's get something for get a bang for our buck. I mean, $240,000 is nothing to sneeze at.
I don't disagree with
In
that.
my opinion, there's 4 other councilmen on
No,
here.
I'm not disagreeing with that whatsoever, Angelo.
And like I mentioned, we can,
The question I have is, you say you want to move forward with this, but you got to bring it back to us anyway to
Correct.
approve it.
Yeah, well, I
right,
mean,
this is just seeking, giving us the authority to move forward with continuing the application process. But then in the end, once we actually get the numbers from the infrastructure bank, we will come
Meanwhile-
back to you again.
Meanwhile, can you show us what the average cash flow is that, as Angelo was speaking about,
Sure.
that if we do take this 600,000 out and pay it back to wherever over the 15 years, that we're not gonna put payroll or, us in debt where we're not paying our debt?
Understood.
That's, that's the big concern, is to make sure we have the cash flow. Angelo, you're saying we have, there's times that we've gone down to, like, versus our bills, like, right now, you look, the school department pays out everything come July 1st, and their budget's pretty well, this year's budget
we
is
don't
shot.
fall into that.
No, but
No,
it
we
depends on the
we do,
collection.
we actually,
We do
the
fall.
appropriation, we have to pay them the appropriation, and we've worked out a payment schedule, so to speak, with them.
Out of
so that they get it.
$92 million budget, we're in deep shit if we ain't got $608,000.
I'm
to
not
play
saying we
with.
don't have $608,000, don't get me wrong. I'm just
That's
saying,
fine.
It's the
I'm
cash.
just
I'll
saying,
end it at that.
But when you have a $92 million budget, Angelo, it's that $92 million is spent on $92 million. We don't have a budget that we say we're gonna have an extra million in every year for cash flow. So all I'm asking is why he's moving forward with this, that he can get us the average daily bank account, how much is in the account, can you do it? And how bad will it affect us? And I agree with you 100%. We've gone through this numerous times. We've always asked, why aren't we paying this ourselves if we can get it? It's not like the pension fund where there's some money sitting there at all times. It's based upon our collections and is being spent. Now, if we have an account somewhere with $5 million, I'd like to know where that is.
No.
Because
we don't.
I want it for next year, because I can tell you right now, I'm not gonna raise taxes if there's an account for $5
Oh,
million.
believe me, you guys will find a way.
I'm telling
Believe
you
me,
right
you
now.
will. I got confidence in
So
you.
John, we're not bound when you move, if you move
No,
forward,
no,
we're not bound. You'll come back
We-
with more concrete numbers the next
when we
time,
go,
right?
when the next step with the infrastructure bank is, they won't actually give us, they won't let us go to the next step in the process without seeing that the council is interested in possibly moving forward with the financing. Possibly meaning that the authority has been granted. The final numbers will be presented to the council, and at that point in time,
Make a decision.
that's when the final decision is. Just because we put in the application and we're asking for the financing, this is just allowing us to have the mechanism so they can see that, yes, we're serious about moving forward with the possibility of financing it through the bank. And then once they have those commitments of possibly moving forward, although that might contradict itself, then they see what pool of resources and financing they need so they can go to the market to see what that final rate would be.
They basically package as many projects as they can into a pool, and then they put that out to bid to see
Correct.
how low the rate is. So the more money, the more projects they have, the lower the rate's gonna be.
All right.
But each round being separate, as I
Yeah,
mentioned
each
earlier.
round is a separate round, and to be honest with you, it's a blended rate, so, the town, if it was to move forward, and I'm not saying it should or shouldn't, would get the benefit of the state's bond rating, which is better than the town's bond
Right.
rating.
All right.
Any other comment? Hearing none, roll call vote. Jason?
Yes.
Angelo?
Yes, with the information.
Jay?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 2017-18, first reading, sponsored by Council President Goslin. An ordinance amending Chapter 10, Article 13, Section 183, requirements and prohibitions applicable to licensees of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of West Warwick.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Moving second, discussion, Al?
When the council passed the, I'll call it tobacco ordinance to protect the kids, basically the entire ordinance was designed to prohibit the sale of tobacco to children under 18. There was a section that other communities had that went into the ordinance that dealt with redeeming, getting cigarettes for coupons or 2-for-1 packages, that all the other communities that I used as my template for the ordinance I presented to the council did not limit that section to just under 18. It said consumers. Apparently, and the rationale behind it was, for some reason, and I'm not a smoker, so I don't know, that they were afraid that these coupons, if you allow it to go to consumers, could eventually get to kids. I guess David and a couple of others had some complaints from tobacco people where older people coming in with these packages, and they said they can't sell them because of the town ordinance. So all we did here was we changed the name, the word consumer, to persons under 18. So now our entire ordinance deals strictly with people under 18. And it's better for the business community.
So Al hit the nail on the head. I did receive 2 phone calls. I was actually kind of stunned. The Shell station right here is actually denying coupons and blamed it on the council. So
It
after
was
a
our
week-
fault.
It was our fault, and I'll take the blame for it. We didn't catch it in the actual ordinance.
I don't think there should be a catch. It wasn't something that was
Well,
slid in. It was
No,
done intentionally.
It was, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And that individual said, well, that's fine. I'll just go to Coventry
Yeah.
and buy my products. And I'm like, well, that's affecting local business here. So, I think in all fairness, if it's an adult, they're carded, they're over 18, they're buying tobacco, that's their business. They should be able to use coupons, save money, do whatever. And I agree 100% with that, with my constituent on that. And she made it kind of irrelevant that she would go to another town and just take off and go shop in other towns, which I think is wrong, especially when they only live right there and they can walk right there.
How long will this take to go into effect? Is it still, is it 45 days like a typical?
Yeah, just to have 2
Okay.
readings in 40 days.
Two readings, and then it's 20 days to repeal.
Any public comment? Hearing none, roll call vote. Jason?
Yes.
Angelo?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Ordinance number 2017-19, first reading, sponsored by Councilman Messier and Councilman Licciardi, an ordinance amending Appendix C, traffic ordinances of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of West Warwick.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
When the council passed the creation of a traffic committee to make recommendations for stop signs and traffic control devices, the ordinance also provided that if the council on its own wanted to go forward with a traffic control device, they could do it without the necessity of the traffic committee. And the councilmen have requested Pulaski Street stop sign westbound at the intersection of Patuxent Terrace, Pulaski Street stop sign eastbound at the intersection of Holly Street. As the council will recall, when the council took that action, we updated from merely an appendix. All of our traffic ordinances are now all of our traffic control devices are now in the form of ordinances, so that they will stand up if challenged in a driving court case. So this is just updating our traffic control device ordinance.
Any questions for Al? Any public comment? Hearing none, roll call vote. Jason?
Yes.
Angelo?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Fees and charges, sponsored by Town Council. I'll just read the first thing. Section 1-12, fees and charges of the Code of Ordinances provides that all fees and charges imposed by the town specifically, including but not limited to fees and charges for permits, licenses, services, or copies shall from time to time be set, repealed, and/or changed by the Town Council by resolution. You want to-
I'll move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moved and seconded, discussion? Al?
We placed all fees in one appendix, I believe it's Appendix B, in the Code of Ordinances, so anybody who wants to know what a particular fee is, it's in the Code of Ordinances. Called to my attention that for some reason liquor licenses were $100, victualling licenses were $150, and I don't know who suggested to her that we put it all in line, and so that's putting the victualling license in the same category as a liquor license, of the fee being $100.
Any questions for
So
Al?
we dropped that $50.
Yeah, that was to bring it in line with, because apparently we had people coming in liquor and victualling in 2 different fees.
It's easier for them in the office also. Any public comment? Hearing none, roll call vote. Jason?
Yes.
Angelo?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Actually, these are resolutions, I can do it all.
Fees and charges for dog licensing and cat breeding, sponsored by town council. This-
You got it?
I think so.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is just basically,
Well,
Al.
something, when the council passed the cat breeding ordinance a couple of weeks ago, with that ordinance, councilors can charge $100 for every cat that is bred. And when I got into doing that section, discussing it with Paula, even though we presently are charging $7 for neutered animals, $15 for unneutered, and $2 for duplicates, it was never put into the fee schedule. So that's just something that we've been doing, and now it's officially making the fee schedule.
when you're saying cat breeding, $100 per cat, that's not per
$100
cat
per-
born, that's per cat doing the breeding.
I think the statute says every cat that's born.
Jeez.
No, it's not. From what I understand, these cats sell for,
Al, can you pull your mic down again? I don't think they can hear you.
if the council wants to continue, and I'll look further into
We
this.
said that last time. We had this discussion
Yes.
last time. I said the same thing. I said how much.
I
If,
thought I asked the same question last
if,
time.
if the council wants to continue it till the next meeting, I'll look.
Table is,
Motion to table.
Instead of table it till the next meeting?
Yeah.
Till we get clarification on
Okay.
that.
I'll take a vote on the table.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. That's insane.
Adopt a Spot program sponsored by Council President Goslin.
I waive the reading and move the resolution.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion, Dave Lombardi? Dave came to me a couple weeks ago with this, and
Sure, he's trying to skate out of cleaning up the islands.
hey, it's saving money, right?
Blame 'em.
Is this because I asked you to clean up that island on the bridge? Is this where this came from?
No, this will actually be a good program for the town. In the past, we had a few landscapers that were taking care of like the Royal Mills and the Memorial across the street. But as you know, we got a lot of spots around town that
Yes.
we have to take care of, and with a 3-man recreation crew, it's kind of hard to get to them all. I was talking to Derek a couple of meetings ago, and he's interested in a spot. I lost the landscaper for the Royal Mills. I spoke to Timmy about the adopt a spot, and he said the best thing to do, because we don't have anything on the books, is to put it in the form of an ordinance and a resolution. to
That's
get
good
this-
advertising
get
for
this created.
businesses.
We're
I don't
gonna
see a
allow them
problem
to
with
put a
that.
sign on. You should have the attached paperwork that came with this. There's an insurance form where they name us harmless, and there's an application form that gets approved, and we'll handle it all through
Is
the...
this
Now, what happens if somebody falls in there and gets hurt? How do we,
Well,
who's responsible?
That's,
We
you're
have
waiving
the
your right
Indemnify
there.
the town.
Yeah.
They've provided that they've got to add the town to their license policy, their insurance policy.
Could this include the bike path as well, or is it certain areas? What's included in this as far as what they can
If
and
you
can't?
look at the paperwork that came with it, we listed out a few spots.
Okay, I see, yeah.
But it also says in there that if you see a spot that you'd like to have and have it added, we can add it.
Yeah, because I mean, because I know the bike path, and I know you have guys that are out there, but that's the thing I get complaints about the most. So I think like,
Well,
yeah, I want, that's something I would definitely.
And we could break it up into sections too. I
They've
mean,
already
we wouldn't have
spoken.
to do the
I'll
whole
be
bike
honest
path,
with you,
so.
the bike path has been a yearly issue every year.
Yeah.
And
I
personally,
didn't get
I
the
don't think we
attachment.
have the staff to handle that bike path. I'd like to actually see what it would cost to hire a landscaping company to maintain the bike path at least once a month, if not twice a month, bi-weekly.
Yeah.
But you know, it's something we need to run.
Especially this time of year where the grass is growing quickly.
Well, it's been raining
Well,
every.
This is probably the most wet spring on record so far, and then the sun comes out for 2 days and it's out of control, you know, so. I mean, we cut it 2 weeks ago, it's already high again.
Yes, I think more than once a month, I mean, depending on the time of
No,
year.
I'm saying bi-weekly, monthly,
Yeah.
whatever it could be. Just like to get put that out to bid and see what it would take to handle that. I mean, and then you got your summer help. I mean, you got 3 or 4. How many kids you get this year? 4?
3 kids.
3.
Three
You got
kids.
3
The other,
kids trying
the
to
other
handle that bike
program
path,
never
and
came
they can't
through.
handle it because
Yeah,
they're getting
no.
weed whackers and lawnmowers. That's it.
The
I didn't see him
CCAP
using
program
lawnmowers,
never
just weed
came through,
whackers when I looked.
So we never got anybody.
As of now, it's directed to town-owned areas and memorial areas.
Is what? I'm sorry?
Town-owned areas and memorial areas.
Okay.
Any other questions for Dave?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's huge. Any public comment?
So actually, I have one question. So is this something we can implement this year? Because you said it'll take, what, about a month?
Implement it right now.
Yeah.
Once it's a resolution, it goes into effect.
Okay, it goes into effect now. So once we do this, we can put something on even the town Facebook page to reach out to businesses.
I was
or-
actually shocked that we didn't have this already,
Yeah.
because if you look right out here, there's John J. Clark Insurance, who takes care of the island. He has like 4 spots.
So that's actually, the one over there is actually a state road.
So, and that's why I thought we already had something like this, but when Dave came to me a couple weeks ago, I thought it was a great idea, so.
So the businesses will be able to like put a sign similar to like the John J. Clark one in
Yeah, we
the
have.
spot or
I think
location
we
or
put,
whatever.
what was it, 3 by 3?
The sign is
3 by 3, I believe.
24 by
24 by
24 by 24.
All right, awesome.
not disturbed site distance. The sign will state West Warwick, adopt the spot with the name and telephone number of the applicant. There should be no graphics or information on the sign.
All right,
So
awesome.
will they provide the sign to us? And we
Yeah,
will-
they're gonna,
Yeah,
So
no,
all
they
the
can make
signs,
it. And
so all the signs be uniform?
yeah, it's
Or-
gonna
or-
be a 2 4x4 posts coming up, 2 by 2 in the center framed,
Everything has to be approved by
Adopt
the
some spots, Jay.
Okay.
and they'll all be the same, except for the name of the,
You gonna adopt some?
Right.
Jay, you gonna adopt some? Seriously, can he adopt them?
Anybody
That's a
can
serious
adopt.
question.
You have a
Yeah, it's a
business,
serious
you wanna
question.
I'd
adopt the
rather not
spot?
get into that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just,
maybe the sign will be exempt from tangibles.
what do you say?
Uncalled for.
The sign will be exempt from tangibles.
I like that one.
Dave, on the subject, could this be something that's opened up to Boy Scout troops?
Sure.
Anybody that wants
If they want to adopt the spot, yes.
Yes.
We had one, and we got a cease and desist back in
Oh,
the
we-
90s at the old Columbus Square.
Well, they had you there standing with the sign. They didn't want you there.
There's a bunch of Boy Scout troops in
All right.
spots.
Yep, thank you, Tom. Any other comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution regarding Rhode Island Small Cell Siting Act, sponsored by Council President Goslin.
I'll move the resolution. What's this?
Second.
Which one are we on?
Oh, we're on-
Cell,
Yes.
small cell.
Oh, yeah, because we did Q&R already, remember?
A little wireless.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have a motion to, and we can talk
Yeah, I
about it?
made a motion. I moved the resolution.
Second discussion. Basically, we received a letter from John Semino about the small cells. What they were looking to do was basically override the town's fees of, and they wanted to do $50 per pole, whatever
Correct.
it was. Where
They're
we
looking
get up
to-
to $600 per pole right now. So this is just basically saying that we're against the act. This will be sent to the State House.
This is something that actually could generate some revenue for the town. There's approximately 110 poles and 130 decorative lights that we actually, if approached by one of these companies, we could actually, put the small unit on top to actually have them expand their network for cell phone. And they're trying to limit it to a $50 per site, where we have, and we could possibly charge, $500 or whatever, the council deems appropriate. So we look at this as limiting what revenue we actually could generate. So therefore, we're requesting that the council adopt this resolution in opposition of the set fee.
What if the state passes this it overrides us.
Correct.
Correct.
This is
This
just,
is basically going to the State House saying we oppose this.
Yeah.
and the League of Cities and Towns is also has requested this from other municipalities to try to show the support against, but again, whatever the state does,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
we won't
actually
have
going
any
to
say,
Senate,
but.
and I actually spoke to our senator and said that I'm kind of against this. And,
Right.
you know, so I think this is just to solidify it. Any
You
other
know,
questions?
as it mentions in the resolution, just for some numbers, I don't know if everyone online saw it, but, you know, this could generate up to $200,000 in revenue, but if it passes as the state's requested, then it would only be 11,500 per year. So, I mean, that's a significant difference.
Yep.
Just for the record.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Appointments, reappointments, appointment to the zoning board of review. Resolved that the town council hereby appoints the following individual to serve as a zoning board of review board member for the town of West Warwick with a term to expire July 2020.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second.
I'll move the name of Mike McPhelps.
McPhillips.
McPhillips, he's been there for quite a few years and
Does a fine job.
great job.
Any other comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Appointment to the Kent County Water Authority. Resolved that the town council hereby appoints the following individual to serve as a Kent County Water Authority member for the town of West Warwick with a term to expire July 8th, 2027.
I'll move the resolution
Second.
and I'll
Second.
move the
Discussion.
name of Robert Boyer. Bobby's been on there ever since I can remember, and we should be proud West Warwick has someone like that with a voice that helps us with the roads. I think West Warwick had the most roads done, and his knowledge to that board is just phenomenal. And on that reason, I'm moving the name of Bobby Boyer.
I'll second that. I think with Tim Brown, who was the administrator for the water company, with him leaving, I think just the consistency to have Bob Boyer there with someone new coming in, it just makes sense.
I agree. I had a conversation with Bob the other day and just on East Main Street, and he's very reactive to it every time I call him. For the most part, we sometimes play phone tag. He gets up earlier than me, but you know, we talked about East Main Street, but then he also had the paperwork delivered to my house. So you know, to have a connection like that and being able to work with him is very good for the community. Hearing any other comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations, Bob. I see you back there.
Discussion action, municipal and wastewater interest and penalties on taxes, sponsored by Council President Goslin.
John?
This is an item that I had spoke to Tim about last week before he had his medical issue. I'd like to request that we wait until the next meeting, unless you're in a situation where you'd like to discuss it. But if we can wait till the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
West Warwick Business Registration, sponsored by Councilman Messier.
I think we kind of like covered this ad nauseum earlier, so if anybody has any objections, I think we can just bypass this. I don't think there's anything else to add.
Thank you.
Crompton Summer Children's Performances, sponsored by Councilman Licciardi.
I'm very happy with this. I secured $1,200 in sponsorship money to run. I put children's performances here, but really the family shows on Sunday nights. I haven't chosen the dates yet. It's going to be this summer. I'm looking at 1 in July and 2 in August. I have emails out to a few different types of performers, one being a magician, another being a storyteller, and another being a singer. But after tonight, it's only for an hour. And they'll keep it as low as possible. And it's not 50s music. It's going to be children's music, children's shows. I've worked with these people for many, many years. They're really good. And I think it brings something else to the community, along with the fishing pier in Crompton.
Where are these events going to be taken?
At the Crompton Playground, on the blacktop, I realize the procedure with this to get a permit for it. The one thing I do want to bring to council, I had an idea. I spoke with both Mark Carullo and John Semino about it, and I do not want to have my hands in this at all, but I think a good idea would be to pass the hat. And we could have one of the on-staff recreation members, one of the three, that would be working that night. They could, and we would go over the process of how this would occur. But the reason behind this is we could actually take, passing the hat doesn't force anybody to give. And you could collect $20 a night or $200 a night. I have no idea. This is all new. But that money could go back into Crompton. So if we needed something where it was a small sign or a fence repair or maybe a new toy to the playground, we could possibly dip into that fund, maybe not this year or the next year, 3, 4, 10 years from now, when the budget's tight and come May, and we say to the Public Works Director, you know, can we have money for this? And he says, I have $30 left in my account. Maybe we go into this account for that. So I just think it's something that people will give back. That's all. And this is something I'd like to do for maybe 3 will grow to 6 next year. So I don't know what discussion you guys want to have on this.
I was just wondering what it was when you put it on. I saw the email and I was like, it's now I know.
So, and then I'll have more concrete dates and performers once people get back to me.
Good
That's all.
idea.
Thank you, Jay.
Town Managers Hiring Committee, sponsored by Council President Goslin.
I put this on the agenda because of an email that went out last week from Councilman Padula in regards to an individual who was at the State House asking questions about 2 candidates. And Councilman Padula got a phone call back from an individual on that matter, and
I got a few phone calls, and I'm going to be blunt about it. This really bothers me. When we got together with the hiring committee for the town manager, it was agreed that the applicants stayed confidential for their jobs, because other municipalities, wherever they applied from, other jobs that they had, whether private or government, we all agreed with the hiring committee and this council that they would stay confidential. And a senator, I'll say it right out, Senator Satchel found out, went to the State House, not only the State House, he went to other people, other municipalities, and my phone started ringing. And he knew 3 of the names. My problem's not the senator going and asking about these people, which I don't know why he did, what he had in mind. I didn't ask him, I didn't speak to him. But I have a problem. I don't care what he said, whoever he talked to. He could have talked to the man upstairs. I do every night. I want to know how he found out. Now, we're going to get a name. People are going to be afraid. I already got a call from someone else. They would never put in for a job in the town of West Warwick because they don't have that confidentiality. So I want to find out, and I'm going to do it if it's the last thing I do. This council has subpoena power. If we have to subpoena to find out who gave him the name, if it's on that hiring committee, they should be dismissed immediately. And if it's on the council, they should be brought up on disciplinary charges. This is something that is very serious, and we all agreed. It was in executive session. You get a hand slap if you break executive session rules, but this is people's livelihoods that were put at stake with this. So that is my complaint. I'm not going to stop at this. I don't know what our next step is. The solicitor probably can answer me. I want to find out before this hiring committee goes any further, before this council goes any further with this hiring process. I want to know. I don't care who he talked to. I want to know who told him. That's my, if I have to put in a complaint myself personally, not as a council, I am going to go that step also. So, Ms. Solicitor, what is our...
So the situation we had is we had an executive session, and by the way, those minutes have not been closed yet. In the executive session, the HR person, director here, asked that she actually said, I'm very nervous on handing out these applications because I would like, a lot of these individuals would like to stay anonymous because they don't want their current employment knowing they may be looking for another job. We as a council, I know we're held to a different standard than an individual in the crowd as far as confidentiality. So if we break the Open Meetings Act and went out and told somebody, if I told Alan, here's the 9 people on the list or the 18 people on the list, then I broke it. The concern that Angelo has and I have is there's 9 people on the hiring committee. There's no secret who those individuals are. We shared those names publicly. They walked out of here publicly, so everybody knows who those individuals are on part of the hiring committee. A senator was asked, and I spoke to the senator because after Angelo sent out the email, I called him directly and I asked him specifically, did you go to the State House and ask individuals about people from certain towns? No names were exchanged between us. The town was, and I asked for that information. Who gave it to him? He did not share that information. So
Subpoena time.
well, that's the I don't know what our legal rights are to that. So
At this point, I'll probably take that under advisement and inform Mr. Williamson about your concerns, and then he can discuss it with you.
Well, he's got to discuss it publicly, and it's time constraint right now. I don't want this to drag on a month, 2 months. I want to do this immediately. Now, if you look in the charter, the council has the right to subpoena. I want to enforce that right for us to subpoena the senator in front of us to tell us, and if he don't cooperate, what's our next step and where do we go from there? Because I'm not stopping at it. I want to know who released the information.
Could we do this? The people know who, obviously the person who's talking knows who it is. Could we allow that person to come, an ample amount of time to come forward and
find out their reasonings, because
it doesn't matter the reasoning. I don't think. I think it should matter of nobody should have said anything. We're here. You know, this is a serious issue, but if they would admit to it to maybe our town manager, and then at that point, that person is removed from the committee and we replace that person, and then just do it and get it done.
So you want to subpoena the senator to find out the name of the individual?
No, I think if the individual should come forward. So give them time to come forward, and if nobody comes forward, then we go that route.
24 hours. You don't come forward tomorrow, we issue the subpoena.
I mean, that's, I just gotta make sure that's,
It would have.
What's the charter say right now?
It would have to take.
I don't have the charter.
It would have to be, there's certain rules that go with subpoena. You have to have a certain amount of notice. They can fight the subpoena. They can try to quash the subpoena. So, I mean, plus you have to give the individual notice that they have 24 hours to provide the name before you're going to issue the subpoena. So it's more of a notice issue at this point in time. So I would have to look at the statute and the subpoena power that you would have, and then take it from there.
So, I know you don't do this
Right.
all the time.
I don't think that it's a problem with the subpoena power, but I do know that there is a notice requirement for subpoena.
So can we start this?
I think if you want to go with the idea that you give the person an opportunity to bring, come forward.
Well, I'm just thinking long term. The committee's due to meet when?
They met last night.
Yeah.
Just a quick, maybe that yourself and Karen get with the hiring committee, speak to each individual and say, did you share these names with Senator Satchel? They have the opportunity to admit it, and then we don't have to go through the subpoena power again.
Right,
Mr. Satchel
exactly.
here, what happens if he doesn't show up,
Well, then we're gonna know I'm gonna find out
I mean, I don't think we
from
can
my
have him
own
arrested.
attorney
I don't know.
what our
I don't know.
options are.
I don't think that. I think it's one of those, if there could be a meeting called or the individuals of the hiring committee could be contacted individually, and then
Yeah, I
if
have
they
no problem with
cannot.
contacting them. Mark?
Yeah, no, I can reach out to the members of the committee and ask them. I mean, I could have asked them last night when we met.
Well, couldn't
I know,
discuss this
I know you hadn't
tonight.
discussed it yet. So, yes, I'll reach out to them tomorrow and find out if any of them will divulge that they provided that information to Senator Satchel.
When is your next meeting scheduled?
Well, right now, tentatively, Monday, next Monday.
I mean, I personally don't think that you guys should meet until this is resolved. But the only reason is I'm putting myself, if I was on that committee, and
Yeah, I
everything
wouldn't-
I'm saying here is in a confidential meeting, and now all of a sudden, what I'm saying is now out for everybody to see. You know, it's not a council meeting. You know, it's private for a reason. So, that's my 2 cents.
I agree.
Do you think that you'd be able to contact each member prior to Monday?
Absolutely, yeah. Yes.
Mark's good.
That's probably the best bet, and then you can take it from there and look into the issuing.
Mark wants to stay here as long as possible, so anything that can delay that process.
You don't want to delay it.
He'll find out.
All right, so that's where we'll go from there. Thank you, Mark. Let us know. Just refrain, I want to say, if Mark sends out the results, we as a council cannot reply back to all on email saying, please remove this individual. We would have to either have a meeting.
A meeting
or-
immediately.
Yeah.
Or we can direct the town manager now to, once that person admits to him, to remove him.
I would,
Or her, whoever. it may be.
whoever it is, automatic dismissal.
Now, are we replacing that person with another person?
We can
to
or
make
we
the-
can't. That's to
make
be
the-
discussed later. Let's see if we can
to make
find
the
out
9.
first.
We should. That person's ward should be represented.
Yeah, they would have to be.
Not necessarily a ward, right? I mean, it could be.
No, but your ward, you represent, you, as Ward 4, you picked the person.
Yeah, we each
It wasn't from
Right.
your ward, but you picked the person.
Right.
So, I'll just use this for an example. John, if it was you, this hammer's gonna be you. But John was my choice. If it was John and he,
Then David should have another
I
choice.
should say, okay, I
Right,
want to
all
put
right.
Anna on. You know. Could be possible.
What kind of agreement did you have with these people?
Basically, like I said, the minutes have not been closed, but we asked that they keep, I understand when people are doing their research about people, they're gonna ask questions. Sometimes on applications, people put referrals. And I'll use Fred Presley as an example. He didn't use any one of us as a referral, but he used former council members as a referral. And as I'm sitting there at the gym and I get a phone call saying, what the hell's going on? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Is it possible that that's what happened in this situation?
I don't know the situation. He did not deny that he asked somebody at the State House. He did not deny it whatsoever.
It wasn't the only place he asked.
But that's the only question.
I don't care where he asked.
Why don't they have a confidentiality agreement?
That's the mistake that I think we made and the HR director made. If we had them sign a confidentiality, we didn't do that. It was a verbal, try to keep this confidential, and Mary Ann has listened to the minutes 2 or 3 times to confirm the wording. Keep this as confidential as possible, because individuals
Yeah.
want their names to be unknown, unless they're on the short list. That's almost the exact word, and I don't have it written down in front of me, but the word try might have been in there, and that's gonna be the issue.
Try. I don't remember that try. I
Well, we
remember
can-
this has to stay confidential.
Listen,
My mind,
Angelo.
I don't remember what I ate for
Angelo,
breakfast,
after
but I
you sent
remember
the
that.
email, I had, Mary Ann listen to the tape.
Was there try in there?
I'm not sure, it's really
Confidential.
important.
Thank you.
People are worried about their
I
names.
still got the old marbles at 29 years old.
But there was also another person who said, try to keep this confidential. So that's gonna be the question. Karen's response was to keep this confidential. Another person's remark was try to keep this confidential, because I know if I'm doing my research on somebody, I may call somebody and ask them that question. I may say, hey, how's Mark Carullo as a planner?
But what would a politician
I
have
don't
to
know.
gain that's not on the hiring committee, he's not on the town council,
What if they use the senator as a,
Well, I looked through that too, and there's not one of the names down there that used this name. As,
not him, I'm saying another person. What I'm saying is, if somebody used that person as a reference,
Look, I'm not making any excuses.
Nope.
They disclosed the information, people's jobs are at jeopardy, end of story.
Well, let's send out whatever it is, the email, and see who comes forward.
That'll be a
and
phone call.
Then we get rid of that person.
Can you come up with an agreement before the next meeting so you can have all these people?
well, I think we just did that. We'll ask that person to be removed.
Well, besides that, the people that end up staying.
I mean, agreement for the
Now,
committee.
the only other
Shouldn't be.
situation we have at that point is once you remove the person from the board, they know the names, they can go say and do what they want. At that point, I'm just making it clear now that.
They're saying it anyway, so.
No, but again, that person go on Facebook and say, here's the 18 names. Just want to make that clear now. You know
What
I'm
can I
saying?
say? If they want to do it, do it.
All right.
President Goslin, do you want to seal those minutes now?
Jane would have to.
Under section 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A47 of Rhode Island General Laws, the council will close executive session to discuss the hiring committee for the town manager.
Second.
Moving second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Interim town managers report?
I don't think I have much to say after tonight's meeting. There's one item that I wanted to get the permission of the council to do. Received a notice today from the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns requesting that the town of West Warwick participating in objecting to House Bill 5593, which is basically legislation that will be under consideration tomorrow by the House, which would allow indefinite extensions of collective bargaining agreements, in particular for school teachers, but also for municipal employees. And basically what the legislation says is as contracts expire and communities are negotiating with bargaining units, that the terms of the existing contract would stay in effect indefinitely.
Yeah, the leagues of cities and towns are against that.
They are against it, and they've asked the town of West Warwick to also join in with them. I did put a letter together for my signature, and I'm just asking for the town council. I can show this to the president or anyone who wants to look at it.
No, I'm fine.
Authorization for me to send that in. I would be sending it in immediately after this meeting so that the league will have it tomorrow for submission to both the House and the Senate.
That would cripple the municipalities.
Well, you may recall that several years ago in East Providence, there was a very heated negotiation between the school committee and the teachers union, and the school committee was able to go to court, and they were to declare the contract to no longer be in effect. Similar situation in Warwick is underway currently, and I think that might be part of the impetus behind that legislation, in that the school committee in Warwick has gone to court a couple of times, and the court has stricken down certain elements of their pre-existing contract because they're under negotiations.
Any questions for Mark? Anything else, Mark?
No, that's it.
Thank you.
Financial update?
Just have a couple of things that I wanted to mention to the council. Mark, myself, Karen Tavasavage, the superintendent of schools, and Joseph Spagna, the finance director over at the school department, as well as a couple of individuals from First Southwest, did have a ratings call with Fitch last week. They basically called for a conference call with us to do an annual review, at which point they asked questions related to the budget, what was included in the 18 budget, whether or not that was approved, and different questions related to that, as well as financial updates, for the last since last year. The results of that call and the corresponding conversations that they have within their committee, we should have the results within a couple of weeks. We don't anticipate a change in the bond rating, although we hope that they may decide to have a more positive outlook because we're currently with a stable outlook. We don't expect any negative results. They were very happy with the call in terms of what the information that was provided. Once we have that press release, we will make it available to the public. We will post it on the website. And on that same note, previous press releases are also on the town's website under the finance page, on the finance department page. And those press releases indicate, what their reasonings were for any actions that they did take or that they do take in the future, and we will make sure that on an annual basis those documents are made available. Those documents, those press releases do contain a lot of information pertaining to how we're doing with the 5-year plan, how we're doing with our pension contributions, OPEB, and the different items that we are addressing, as well as some of the ongoing concerns that they may or may not have in terms of the tax structure or tax rates and so forth. So I would advise anyone who's interested to take a look at those press releases because there is a lot of information that can be helpful to them to understand what's going on an annual basis. We did actually, I had previously at the last meeting, we had asked for the resolution related to the refunding of the 2007 and 2009 series bonds that we had. At the time, the estimated amount of savings over the 11 years remaining was about $450,000. I'm happy to report that we received 2 bids, and we're in the process of actually moving forward with one with Webster Bank, and the savings are actually going to be in excess of $600,000 over the 11-year period. So again, we try to be conservative when I present the amounts to you, like we discussed earlier with the interest rate, but that savings will allow that debt to be paid down that much sooner, and it will help with some budget relief on an annual basis for those particular bond issuance. A couple of other notes. We did just recently sell on the market our rec credits related to the wind turbines, so we're expecting a check for approximately $17,000 for the last quarter of the recs that were sold on the market. We estimate that will be anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000 per quarter. However, this particular quarter was less for a few different reasons, but that's money that will go into the wind turbine fund, which will help pay down the debt, and we expect that on an annual basis. In terms of just a quick update on the real estate and
So John,
tangible.
just to clarify, we haven't had an electric bill since August.
Correct.
And we're receiving $17,000.
Correct. In addition to the credits that are actually still on the account.
On average, what was our monthly combined electric bill?
$400,000.
The annual total was combined, you're talking with the school department and wastewater, it was $1 million. But again, those amounts will go towards the debt. So it's not like we're saving,
Again,
strictly
again,
saving the $1 million.
You're talking $1 million in electric plus a surplus.
Correct.
$17,000.
Correct. We were anticipating these rec credits to come in on an annual basis, and they would help to pay down the debt to lower what would be what the town and the school and the wastewater would be responsible for the debt service payments. So just a quick note on the real estate intangible bills. The collector's office finished printing, in the process of mailing, and we expect the real estate and the tangibles to be mailed by the end of this week, with a due date in July, like we normally have. And as far as with the motor vehicles, while we wait for the state to make a final decision on the phase-out, we anticipate that, should that decision come soon from the state, that we would be mailing the motor vehicle bills sometime mid to late July.
Thursday. We'll know Thursday.
We'll know Thursday. Okay, so mid to late July, we'll actually have those out, and we did extend, as we mentioned at the last meeting, we did extend the motor vehicles by 1 month to accommodate for the fact that they're going out later than the real estate intangibles. Okay.
Any questions for John? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Upcoming appointments, Planning Board, 1 alternate member, 5-year, 1 5-year term. Technology Committee, Ward 1, Ward 2 to expire 12/31/18, Ward 3 to expire 12/31/18, Ward 5 to expire 12/31/18. Zoning Board of Review, 1 5-year term, Kent County Water Authority, 10-year term.
That's done.
That's done. Board of Tenant Affairs, 1 Clyde Towers with a term to expire 4/2018. Public comment?
Public comment from the council. Anybody from the council?
Where's Dave? Is he still here?
He left.
Sleeping back there.
He's back.
Dave, any idea River Street? They keep digging. Then, and you said that Old Natick Road, that was all fixed?
Well,
All right, thank you.
The only thing I have, and I meant to put it on the agenda tonight, but I didn't. Councilman Messier and myself, I had a conversation with him. He's actually removing himself from the town Facebook page. So Mark, if you can assign somebody in the town hall that duty, whoever it may be, whether it's a new hire or somebody, or Laurie Swanson, whoever wants to do it.
How about, like we discussed, the kids at the high school that are in IT?
Well, the thing is, are they gonna keep up with it? Right now, they're out of
Well,
school. I mean, we can push that, but right now, we need to get somebody assigned to it. The kids are out of school now, it's gonna be a little harder to get to them. So, we can reach out to the IT director at the school, and we can work with him also.
And I got a text earlier that this wasn't online.
No, I got a few people messaging me throughout, unless I posted it on the town page a while ago, and people were messaging me
Well,
listening.
they couldn't,
I
no.
checked it when we first started, both the sewer commission as well as this meeting was running. I'll do a quick check right now.
Yeah, at least
I
3 people messaged.
I forgot to bring it up with all the discussion.
It must be running because Mr. Williamson texted me.
He's been texting me as well.
Yeah, so he's watching it.
Yes.
Wait, turn around, wait for the camera.
Let's give him the Rhode Island salute.
You guys take care. I'm all set.
The old
You
seagull.
work for it.
I like my job.
I think we got a little something over his head if we,
All right, so that's all I have for public comment from us.
It is running, so I'm not sure.
all right.
It could be, the Windows
Not
issue or
online or
something.
something.
I don't know. Any public comment?
Actually, I have,
Oh, Jay, first?
yeah, I just want to quickly bring up the mattress situation, because I know that was rampant last week. What I would like for us to do is, if it's possible, to put out for bid for a company in a situation, for those that aren't familiar, we have the mattresses, the contaminated mattresses.
We found out later on, we do, according to Dave Lombari, we have a bid through Mega.
Okay.
Situation is they will not go onto a property.
I understand that. That's a different situation. On the property is a whole different, in the situation where there happens to be a one on the curb, so we do have somebody out for bid if we need to get them removed quickly.
And again, it's $50 per mattress.
I understand
not
that.
$20
Dave,
for the whole.
I
What's
understand.
going on, how about the guy right in town, right on Clyde Street, right on the borderline of my
If
ward,
it's,
David?
if it's bed bug infested, he's not going to take them.
Because they gotta bag them up
He's
first,
got,
then.
he recycles them and he now
Well-
contaminates his entire building.
Okay, but we're not paying $50 a mattress. We're paying, but we're getting reimbursed for that $50
Dave
from,
can explain that. We're really-
from the tenement owner.
Well,
right?
there's a lien.
You would only be getting reimbursed if you put a lien on the property for the removal of the mattress, and that would only be at the time of a transaction for that property. They'd have to sell.
So if they don't sell the house, then it's just, they owe you the money for like forever. Maybe.
Lien's on there forever, don't cost us
That's
any
correct.
money to put it on
Right,
there.
it doesn't cost.
Yeah.
Dave?
Okay, if a resident calls the DPW and wants to get rid of a mattress, okay, mattress drop-off is free, okay, because you pay $10 at the point of sale, all right? If they can't bring it down and drop it off for free, we provide a premium service, which means we charge them $20 to go to their house. If they have a mattress, a box spring, 2 mattresses, 2 box
Still
springs,
20
whatever
bucks
it is,
flat fee.
we'll take the whole thing for 20 bucks and bring it back. They gotta be clean, they gotta be dry, they gotta be recyclable.
Which is why you shouldn't just leave them on the corner. You should, when you
Right.
call, then you bring them outside.
Correct, okay? The mattresses in question were infested with bed bugs. They were also on private property, okay? Someone, thinking they're doing the right thing, dragged them out to the street. We still could not pick them up because we know they're infested with bed bugs. If we bring them down, put them in that trailer, and we infest the other 50 to 60 mattresses that are in
$50
there,
a piece for each one of
we
those.
have to pay $50 per mattresses for the contaminated mattresses,
How do
okay?
they know they have bed bugs? How do you know when you're picking them up?
You don't know, that's the thing.
that's
You
what I'm
gotta look
saying.
at them, they gotta be dry, they gotta be clean. Usually you can see little brown spots and you can see those spots are moving around. But if they're inside the mattress, you can't tell. So you're taking a chance no matter what.
All
But
right.
luckily, you know, we look at them every time they come in and we haven't
In
been
this
taking them.
situation, we knew very clearly
That's
that
right.
they were.
We have been having this conversation for years, and meaning me and David and you been hearing this for years. When a landlord evicts their tenants and you have the jackpots,
Yep.
okay? And you get them the first of the month, you see the jackpots out.
Yep.
We go pick that stuff up.
If it's on the sidewalk.
Okay,
We will pick
my
it up.
point exactly.
If it's from the sidewalk in, it goes to the building department.
I own 19 apartment houses.
Okay.
I got a damage deposit. I
Okay.
own 100 apartment houses.
Okay.
You get a damage deposit from that person. I throw you out. I'm gonna say if I keep the $1,000 for the cleanup, town's gonna pick it up. I put it on the sidewalk. That landlord's responsible of getting rid of that jackpot with the dumpster,
Right.
not the tax
And if
dollars,
we have to go over there and pick it up,
because he's getting paid.
we fill out the invoice and we put it through the building department and it gets leaned against the property. But the only problem is we don't see that money until that property sells.
Is there a way to do it other than a lien so that we don't have to
Right
wait
now,
till they sell?
no.
Is there
Why
something we can do
can't-
as a council?
Well, I
though?
think
Wait
I
a
had the
minute, wait a
perfect
minute.
solution.
Why can't we bring them into municipal court for littering?
Well, I think I had the perfect solution via email to Shayna, and my personal opinion, I know we've had this discussion, Councilman Giroux was here numerous times battling this battle, because it seems to be in certain areas of the town that
Yeah,
it
same
comes this
spots.
way. And, my solution is, and Shayna and the building official wanted teeth, well, my solution is, you go there, you pick it up, you fine them, make them come to court, and then they can discuss it at court.
Yeah.
And let the judge.
I like
It's
that.
off the road right away, it's fined, you can put a lien, if they don't wanna come in, pay their fine, you put the lien on the house and you're done. Simple. I don't know
Especially when
why we're going through.
Especially when it's the same, when it's the
50
same,
hours a
when it's the
week
same
of
landlord.
BS.
when
And
it's the
this,
same
and this
landlords.
crap not going on private property. He should be cited immediately, we put some teeth in the law, get so much fined a
They
day.
are. They're cited by the building department. If
Yes.
it's
Right.
The
off-
problem is-
Behind
the
the
problem is-
sidewalk is the building
Angelo, the
department.
problem
And
is
she
they-
has a
they get-
procedure to follow.
They got laws to follow, and again.
It's
if we-
state law.
If we took it, and you went through this on your property, somebody took a door that they thought was not, they thought it was garbage, they went on your property, grabbed your door, put it in their truck. What, if you found out who it is, you're getting a new door, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what situation
We
this
had
was.
that
This guy could've said,
situation
"You just took-"
15 years
They
ago.
took, they
when-
took my father's lawnmower and his grill.
Well, 15 years ago, somebody
too close
wanted
to the
that stuff
street.
removed. We went and removed it. The person that owned it claimed it was brand-new stuff, and the town bought them
It was a refrigerator,
a
a
brand-new
stove, it was all-
refrigerator
it was
and a
all-
dryer. It was.
And that's a situation that everybody doesn't know,
So
like,
you can't
why
go
can't
on
you just
it.
go get them? Like, Pete and I had this conversation, why can't you go get them? I'm sorry, Pete, if I go get them, and the guy says, we just took 6 brand new mattresses, we're at Cardi's replacing 6 mattresses, and they just got rid of a bunch of bed bug mattresses, and we're buying them all brand new.
Wasn't the town given permission to take the mattresses up? This is
You just come on up to them, right?
To answer your question, yes, but we can't take them because they're infested. They're contaminated.
My concern now is that this specific resident is continually, even, I was gonna take pictures on the way here. It might be, the chief of the fire department and the police department might wanna go by. Corner of Newicki and Pond Street. Tomorrow, all these residents have to be out of the dwelling. The trash is starting to mound up on the street. It's all furniture.
I knew it was gonna happen.
It's actually, chief, with all due respect, it's blocking a fire hydrant. So, now that's a concern to me, because if you have to tag the hydrant to come to my house, your guys are gonna be furniture, moving furniture. So, in as far as the police department goes, it's block, you can't come out that corner without. So where does this go? Is this something for Dave to pick up, or is this something that, because I spoke with Shayna about it the other day.
If it's on the curb, we can address it. and then-
Now, what about, which we said bed bugs, if there's bed bugs in the mattresses, there's bed bugs in the couches.
First- oh,
Right, because there's bags of clothing. Yeah, absolutely,
Jerry,
it's,
Jerry, by the way,
I recognize he's doing.
I wanna thank you for personally go out and getting those
Exactly.
mattresses.
You had a lot of guts picking that up. You scratching?
No, Jerry and I spoke personally through messages.
I might get itchy. Well, when you bring it, I was just kidding. When you bring stuff down to
I just stopped it.
the landfill, they're not checking, they're not asking you. There's 2 places the mattresses are going. They're going into a pile that's going up on the hill, or they're going into a truck. All right, those mattresses, one, did not have any on them. I picked them up, I know for a fact.
They die at
Well,
103
don't-
degrees, so
Hold
they-
on. No, they died at 125 degrees, and it was not 125 degrees. Second of all, the recycling of mattresses, if you read a recycling program, 90% of the mattresses that are on these street corners are not recyclable to begin with. So we actually have to find a way to get the stuff picked up. Now, I know you guys are saying you have a contract with Mega, but that's not helping us. When we have residents sitting here driving down the streets of this town, day in, day out, you see it all over Facebook, the next day you drive up your street, there's another 3. It's like they're doing it to break our balls. I'm sorry. It's
I seen
they're not
3 on
even,
the way
the
up
problem
here.
is they're not taking it. We got yellow tags, red tags. We have flags all over the place on these stupid things. They're not moving. And as soon as you say something, now we got headboards out here. We got this out
Jerry,
here.
the other thing I said was via email to Shana and I think Nicole was on it, was when they go out and see him there, why put the tag on it and make the person call? We should be calling Mega, put it right on the bulk pickup for that weekend, because we do it twice a month.
Correct.
The next, why wait for the resident? Put it on the, call down, put it on the list, have Mega pick it up. Why are we waiting? Why are we going through this process? It's so easy. If it's on the curb, call up, down DPW, tell them to
part of
go,
the
put it
problem
on the list.
is that
done.
we have these residents and tenants putting it out on the curb the day after the pickup comes.
So
now
then
they're
it's
sitting
there for
there 2
13
weeks.
days.
And now guess what? Those 2 weeks, they're no longer recyclable because it has rained. If a mattress isn't laying flat, it's not recyclable. Guess what? They're getting rid of the mattresses because they're pieces of crap.
Ironically, I was on his street a month ago, picking up a couch for my nephew out of his friend's apartment.
Same
A
place with
month
the
later,
mattresses?
the same furniture was still on the curb that was people had put down that street, down those 2 side streets.
And that's the
And
same corner. That's
I
same
agree
corner.
with everybody wholeheartedly. I
Even
wish
at the
we could
bottom
do
of
more.
Prospect Hill, we had all
Oh.
that furniture down there.
That, Jerry,
so what did the wise
that
guy do?
is-
He literally
that's
moved
been
it
going on
from one property and split
since
it
I
over
was
to
a
the next
kid.
property.
I told you, that's Fort Apache to Bronx. It's a problem with the same landlord.
Yeah.
The same
Who
landlord.
owns the 2
He's-
buildings and just slid the stuff
From
over after
one
he's
to the
violated.
other. And then when you go in, the cow pasture over there, that's where another one is.
Yep. So my question is, like, have you guys reached out to other towns to see how they're actually handling this stuff?
They got the
Because
same problems.
No, they don't.
Warwick brings them to West Warwick. They go across the street with them. When West Warwick gets fined, they bring it, put it back in Warwick. I've seen that go on for months.
You might be talking about an area that
Providence
it's just
Street.
the people, right? It's the people themselves. Because if you're going into Warwick, and we're talking about stuff getting picked up here, you're going to Warwick. It doesn't seem, or Coventry, or all these other towns. They're addressing it somehow, and it's being taken care of.
I can
Is
tell you
our
how-
ordinance too weak? Is the problem?
I can tell you, and unfortunately, we had to buy trucks, or we would have had to buy trucks, and that's one of the reasons why we privatized. Prior to that, I think West Warwick had the best garbage pickup, because you could put out a whole tractor, as long as it had gas and oil in it, they would put it in that.
Everything.
Well, times are changing. People got to get past that because the new program is working
The
every
new
other
program's
town.
working, it's keeping the town cleaner, but the problem is
Right.
that bulk stuff doesn't get picked up. To be honest with you, if we could get even a group of town employees that say this is your responsibility, bulk, and get it down there, and bring it back down to, and put it in the dumpsters we have down there.
But why is that, we'll just take the specific residents, because everybody in the town knows that it's a problem child.
I've already gotten private messages from individuals saying, why is he renting it?
Responsible for removing that stuff? Why is it, I understand he was being a good guy and just did it because it was, we all know it was getting way out of control. But why is it the town's responsibility? Why can't Shana or George, because I brought this to their attention the other day, that this stuff was out there. Why?
This gentleman's
This
been to
can't- it
municipal
doesn't-
court numerous times. He has not taken care of his issues. The only thing we could do at that point is fine him. The
Fine,
ju-
move the
you know,
shit back,
but
move the
again,
stuff back in his yard.
but you move it back in his yard, and then
Still there.
it's still there, and people are still saying, look what's there. It happens, and the only problem we have is Shana and Nicole have laws to follow.
What's the law for more than three
You have
apartments
to
in
give
a
him
building?
fair notice to get it removed
He
and
has to have a
cleaned up.
dumpster. He has to have a
Yeah, but the dumpster
that's
company,
cheap.
he was putting those mattresses in the dumpster, and the dumpster company was taking them
Right,
out.
right.
Because like, if I went to Clyde dumpster down the street and said, hey, I want a dumpster in my yard, they tell me point blank, when I buy the dumpster for $350, for every mattress and box spring that's in there, they're charging me
Right, I
$10
realize,
more.
But this is all hardwood furniture. Most of the, most most of the mattresses are gone. This is all kitchen tables, dressers, bureaus, and all that.
Did I not say that's gonna
Because
happen?
Shayna, we spoke about this personally with my rental. She told me that I had to buy a dumpster. Why can't the town enforce it?
He
force
should
me
get
to
a
buy
dumpster. He should get a dumpster.
Because
I
it's
think we
nine-
need to go down there.
Nine apartments in
Well,
there.
he has a dumpster on site.
It's already full. It's already, I mean, you've been by there, go by there tonight. It's already full. There's trash bags of clothes along the side.
We'll get somebody down there
Well,
first
I
thing
guess
in
the
the
best
morning.
question is, are we doing something like to enforce it a little bit more, or find a way to make it steeper, or find something? Because I don't think that other
The last
towns are
meeting we
going
had,
through all this.
the last meeting we had was with the building official in Shayna. They're looking for ideas legally on how they can get stronger teeth into these matters. Shayna's one person, you know, and let's face it, there are some areas that you have to constantly figure out. I mean, I'm not sharing my emails, but I can tell you it was not pleasant emails going back and forth this week about the situation. It's an embarrassment to the town. It needs to be cleaned up. It's been an ongoing battle. And I'll be honest, if I need to get a second person in that office with Shayna do the same exact role and do double the duty, get two people out there. But the problem is, if you're not getting it done and you're out there, I'm not saying Shayna's not doing her job. She has to do what she is legally right to do. She has to give notification. She has to tell them, you got, the little stickers on there says, please get off the curb and call this number.
Right.
I disagree with that a little bit because if you know a pickup's coming up this Saturday and you're out there on Wednesday, call it in and down DPW. There's got to be ways of doing it.
When does our contract with them end, the trash company, by the way?
This is the third year of the 5 year?
Just got
She
renewed.
puts those stickers on.
Yeah, I think this is.
When she puts those stickers on, it says call this number, she adds them to the bulk pickup, okay? Then when those people call, she says, listen, the bulk pickup's not for 2 weeks, because the bulk pickup was just last Saturday.
Yep.
So now that we go out again this Monday, and there's stuff right back there again. So that sticker
So
says
it is
call
added.
the number.
So it is added.
So then she tells them, you're on the next bulk pickup, but you've gotta move it off the curb.
But see,
until
Dave,
the
you know what
day before.
aggravates me the
Well,
most?
we also have the dumpster in the backyard set up. So if these people can put the stuff in a truck and take it somewhere and dump it, why can't they just drive down the DPW and put it in a dumpster? That's already provided.
See,
Because
now-
we added the
but-
dumpsters, if you remember, because we only started off with one bulk. Then we added another bulk, and people weren't happy with that. So then we put the big dumpster in the back, so that people could come down during the week and put the stuff in there too. We gave them 3 options, and they're still throwing the crap all
Because they're
over the
lazy.
yards.
Because they're lazy.
The stuff on, we picked all that stuff up, if you remember.
Right, it was
Because
good, it was
I stopped
good.
to see you.
I don't think a lot-
It was going the next day.
Well, again, we can go on about this address all
Yeah, I
night
know.
long.
I have one more
What?
question, and I
Hold
we
on
got
one
this
second.
second.
Just, you know,
Mark-
you make
Mark-
it sound like nobody's doing anything. They have to follow the procedure.
All right.
When Shayna goes
But
out
tomorrow-
and Nicole goes out, they'll go out there and they'll tag a dozen spots. Then they gotta come back and they gotta spend 2.5 to 3 hours filling every ticket, every form, every report, and log everything in the computer. So that when they do go to municipal court, they can present every piece of paper in the timeline to the
Well,
judge.
I can
Then
tell
he
you,
find it.
for Shayna's portion of it, that's why we put a second person up in that office, so she don't have to do the paperwork.
Yeah, and
That person that we put in there should be doing that paperwork. Shayna should still be out on the street enforcing and giving that paperwork to another lady at the end of the day,
Yeah,
so she's
and
doing
that-
it next day.
And that person that was in there signed out to another job, so you're gonna have another brand new person that has to be trained in it. So, you know, it's just a revolving door.
Now I just have one more question about
Go ahead, Chairman.
other properties. Like a lot of these still vacant foreclosed properties. Does West Warwick have a vacant property registry as required by Rhode Island general laws?
That's,
I can tell you that Tim's working on that they're enabling legislation to deal with these properties and condemning them so that they can't be rented. And so he's working on an ordinance to deal with everything that's been discussed. And there is an issue and there is laws regarding.
Because we have a lot of even in Rhode Island general laws, we also have out-of-state property owners who own properties in West Warwick that we have no contact information for. Under Rhode Island laws, you must have that contact information, and an in-state agent must be here.
We have their contact information and tax assessors.
Not necessarily, because
Oh, yeah.
if you look it up, they're not all on
They
there.
have to, because they gotta receive their tax bills. I bet
Well,
you
I can
99%.
tell you right now, we have a property
you
that
he and I were at.
No, what I'm trying to say is you might have their contact information for John who lives over in Massachusetts, but that's not valid under Rhode Island laws. He needs to have an in-state agent. That's how, that is what the law requires in the state of Rhode Island.
Oh, I see
That
what
way,
you're
if
saying,
something goes
yeah.
wrong, you are contacting this person
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I know what
With
you're
all these
saying.
foreclosed properties,
I
we
don't
have these
think we have
banks
that.
in California, across the country.
Yeah, we don't have that.
We need to.
So you need a local person.
You need a
Yeah.
local person.
I
For
agree, I
foreclosed
agree with
properties,
that.
For rental properties, everything. It's brown law, and that's something we need to start addressing. You know, you're driving down some of these streets that we still have some foreclosures. You know, got the grass up here. Who you calling? You don't even know because the bank hasn't even registered a foreclosure on that yet.
We have a process in place right now where the building official's office has a landscaping company. They go out and they put a lien, they cut the grass, they put a lien on the property.
Good.
That we do have in place.
I mean, Warwick does it. I mean, Situate does a lot of
Me
these towns
personally-
do. They'll go in, they'll board, they'll do whatever they have to, and they'll put the lien
Jerry,
right on that property.
I agree, this is something that I've been looking into, is instead of waiting till the grass gets up to waist high, that if we know they're vacant and they're not maintaining, I mean, we do have to notify if a bank owns it, we have to notify the bank. If they don't take care of it, we go in and take care of it and then put a lien on it, and then we'll get reimbursed. But
And I
me
know-
personally, once we cut it, we should put that on a list, let the hire a landscaper, let them go through and keep them cut on a regular basis, and they keep.
2 weeks,
and
on the
they
round,
keep-
on the round. I did foreclosures for 8 years. It's 2 weeks. You just keep going, reoccurring maintenance on the
That's
property.
what I agree with 100%.
I have a question. Which statute in the Rhode Island law about
Off
having,
off the top of my head, I don't know the statute numbers, but I know that.
okay, because the one that says that they have to have a local Rhode Island
That is on the,
agent in order to own
Yep.
property in Rhode Island?
not to own property, but they have to have an in-state agent, so when in the event of something occurring, they are the emergency contact, they are the first
An
contact.
emergency contact,
They have to be responsible. Basically, if you own a rental property in the state of Rhode Island,
right?
you have to have a management company that takes care of that property.
You don't, I don't think you necessarily need a management company, but if you.
You need a realtor.
L-I-E-G-H.
All right, I'll look into that. I don't
You need a
know
realtor.
if you need.
It's 100. You can look at, but under Rhode Island, you need a realtor. You have to have an in-state agent.
For a rental property, you're talking about.
Correct. Well, any property. If you own a property in the state of Rhode Island, you do not live in the state of Rhode Island, you have to have an in-state agent.
And you don't
For
know
that property.
where that, you just know you don't have the statute?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
Why not?
Well, I'm sorry. It's a lot of things you gotta look up in a day, huh? Right? It takes 2 seconds. Well, that's it.
Mine's
I'm
shut
done.
for the meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Problems
Jerry.
gonna be taken care of by the town? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm gonna have somebody, I was directing Mark to make sure somebody goes by there in the morning.
Okay.
And Dave, I'm sure Dave will go by there first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you. Anna, you have something?
Just for the sake of Pond Street in particular, I had a conversation with Pat Serpa, and she wanted me to convey a message to Mr. Williamson that she would like to work with him after this session closes to develop language, not just for, West Warwick, but for the entire state, so that we can cut through all the red tape if it's private property and it's a situation like we had here, that the town or city can go on that property if it's deemed necessary without it being an illegal, trespass. So she basically wants him to, get in touch with
She had
her.
the same conversation with me also, yeah.
Yeah, she's very, very aware of it, and she was very concerned. She said, and it's not just here. It's, you got places in Providence and everywhere else that kind of do the same. I do have one other question, and I'm exhausted, so I don't really want to ask it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What are the rules on how the meeting minutes are kept?
Mary Ann, that's your job.
I'm sorry, I'm tired too.
Exactly what I asked.
Okay, because there are constantly video issues, I sometimes want to look at the meeting minutes versus the video. The meeting minutes that are printed do not match what took place on the videos. So that's where I'm concerned, like I've spoken at almost every meeting. I'm only mentioned in one, April 25th, not even mentioned. Mr. Reed and his father came and spoke at one meeting, no mention of him either.
No, usually what minutes are subject and actions. I do put a little information on certain things, but everybody who gets up and speaks, no. You go on forever. Minutes basically are an item in an action. That's really all you need.
So it's up for your interpretation to
No,
put
I
down?
follow the
It's,
law.
it's the items on the
So
agenda.
they would
and
have
the
to go
result.
back to the tape.
But public
Right.
comment should also be
So if
on
you-
there.
I do
but-
put public comment, but I don't expound upon every single person who talks, et cetera.
Now, Anna,
You're
one
right.
other option you do have, if the video is not working, you can request an audio tape
Right,
or an
exactly.
audio file from the town clerk's office.
Okay, so public comment isn't normally put on,
Public comment is put on, I don't do it verbatim, no.
but aren't the people that were part of it supposed to be on there?
It just depends on what it is and
It's
what
not
I,
required.
it's really not required, but sometimes I expound a little on a subject if a lot of people are getting into it, but I don't necessarily, I don't do anything verbatim. Minutes are not meant to be scripts.
It's
of the
confusing on the Open Meetings Act, because it basically says all the public comments should be on minutes taken at any meeting. And especially on the, like I said, the last meeting that we had, what was it, June 6th? I went to look at the meeting minutes, and I saw nothing of what actually took place. And I was looking for it for reasons to find out what was said at a particular
you can
time,
get
and I
copies
couldn't
of
get
the
that damn
audio.
video to play.
Well, I can always give you copies, they're $5, and you can get copies of the audio of every meeting, but you're right, I just go by Open Meetings
Mhm.
Act on what it is, and it's really the item in the action. So public comment isn't an item in action, so I just am very concise with that.
Okay. One word of advice on the closed meetings with the individuals that are on your hiring committee. I don't know, like I said, I asked you before if you had a confidentiality agreement. The other thing with that is, in the Open Meetings Act, it actually appears as if it's a violation to have those people at a closed session. And I could show you the paragraph on it if you want,
I know-
but
I
I
know them
would...
laws.
Huh?
I know them laws. We've already been filed with an Opens Meeting Act back in 2012.
Yeah, and it was a bogus one, and I'm gonna stress that. The only reason why that we paid the fine, not because our clerk advertised that meeting, because our solicitor Williamson said it cost more to fight it than pay the $1,000.
Yeah, well-
And I would've paid $10,000 to fight it.
Just be leery, because it is something that it states in the Open Meetings Act, to have members of the public that are selected and disallow other members, it is a violation of the
Matter
Open
fact,
Meetings
we'll file
Act.
that. Senator Satchel. Gee,
What?
that's right.
Okay, everybody go
Alan?
home.
You have to come up to the mic. Sorry, buddy. You don't make the appearance as much as you used to, so, you know.
No, but I'll start again. Alan Palazzo, 5 Robin Lane, West Warwick, and I just want to point out that committee that you have for hiring, they're required to have bylaws. Hopefully they do, and regulations for the operation of that committee. That's the state law. You know I do my research. And oh, by the way, electronic recordings are considered minutes for the purpose of the town meetings act. I'm very familiar with it.
Thank you, Alan. Any other public comment?
7-Eleven, is that the only meeting you're gonna have in July?
Correct.
What about August?
One in August. We haven't decided. We gotta see what Labor Day brings, but we only have one in August also. Tom?
You want to mention that juvenile hearing board that we spoke of?
Tom, why don't you come to the mic? You actually, I'm sorry.
Following the next month?
No, it's actually good news.
I can't believe you let him get up.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna have, the next thing on our
A
little
microphone
thing,
to pass
a
out.
microphone to pass for
There
the
you go.
elderly and the invalid.
And the broke down old
The
guy.
broken down,
right,
young,
let's go.
29.
Okay, so we can get out of here. Last week I had the opportunity to attend the state meeting for the Juvenile Hearing Board. There were members of juvenile hearing boards from every community except Providence and Central Falls, because they don't have one. It was an informational meeting on how things are going in different communities. And we sat back, Sergeant McConaughey, myself, and Karen Simpson, and we listened to these people complain about how their boards run or actually don't run. Most of the communities find it's just a political appointment. who you know, so you can get on a board, a feather in your cap or what have you. They have people that are probably not really qualified for the position. They go there, they don't do anything, they don't get any information from the schools. 99% of the issues with the Juvenile Hearing Board take place in the schools. Then we started to discuss how we operate ours, and all of a sudden flags started going up, and people that were running the program want to use West Warwick as a model for the entire state. West Warwick has a DCYF agent. We have a police officer. We have a retired school teacher. We have a current school teacher. We have an employee of the school department.
Tides representative.
Tides representative, and myself, I'm a CASA volunteer with the family court. Everybody seems to be involved with children and make good decisions, and they think that this is a great way. And it's the town council that appoints these people. They read the applications, they look through these applicants for these positions, and they pick the person that's going to do the job, that has a knowledge and has a working background. So it's a good point, and it was a nice thing to hear that West Warwick is doing it right as far as appointments to these committees and things like that. So it looks like West Warwick may wind up being the model for the Juvenile Hearing Board throughout the state.
Thank you, Tom. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other public comment?
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I couldn't come out fast enough.
Timmy.
Timmy is watching.
Timmy is here in spirit.
Did he admit to you why he's really in the hospital?